sports live here. Are they equipped from a roster standpoint to do it? We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. I think it was average on ESPN 1025 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
It's a Reaction Monday, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Your sports live here on 1025 The Game. They're ready to cover it all with you on the drive home.
You guys are going to get me in trouble.
Oh, Lord.
No, you're already in trouble.
Former Titans wide receiver and Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Derek Mason.
That is a clear indictment of what people think of your team.
Predators TV voice Willy Donner.
There it is! 600 goals!
And reporter Adam Vingen are.
And I'm a nerd, and I look at the numbers.
DMase, Vingen, and Donnick. DVD.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Why not?
You're the SEC snob, that's
Exactly.
why.
Your sports live here. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. This is 1025 The Game.
DMase, Vingen, and Donnick, 1025 The Game. Willy Donnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, and Connor Newt here with you. We hope you had an outstanding holiday weekend as we celebrated our semi-quincentennial. Now, there's a word of the day for you. Semi-quincentennial, or 250th anniversary. And this weekend,
I was about to try to top you with my Roman numerals of 250, like
I mean,
MCMLX.
I'm no good with Roman numerals. I have to look up all of the actual Super Bowls because I can never tell just by looking at the Roman numerals. But this weekend was full of major sports news. Exhilarating World Cup matches. Joey Chestnut asserting his dominance
You're
once
really
again
going to throw Joey's name
in the
out the
sport,
beginning? Of all the
in
things
the
that happened
sport
this weekend
of competitive eating. It's not the only thing that happened, but it did happen.
but you're giving it top billing.
Yes.
He didn't have his best stuff this weekend, okay? Only
I was excited not to
66 hot
watch.
dogs. Okay, well, you know what?
I didn't even realize it was on.
There were World Cup matches.
I mean,
There was a hot dog eating contest. There was an absolutely bonkers offer sheet in the NHL, which we will discuss later in the program. But we must start today's program with the news that has the world up in arms. American striker Flo Balogun has been cleared to play against Belgium tonight after FIFA suspended the one-game red card ban he received last week. And as you might imagine, the rest of the world is PO'd about this decision.
Just a little bit.
It's yet another example of FIFA blatantly disregarding the rules. And on top of that, President Trump spoke to the president of FIFA about the situation, which has only fanned the flames,
And then went and bragged about it.
as is
Just
his
to go
desire.
ahead and- yeah.
Belgium's attempt to appeal the ruling failed. So Balogun will play. Now, I must emphasize that I am the most casual of casual soccer fans. This is the most soccer I think I have ever watched in my life. And all I hear is how nakedly corrupt FIFA is. And I, for the record, am anti-corruption, okay? That's a brave stance to have, but I am anti-corruption. But this decision benefits us, so I'm cool with it.
I'm not.
All kidding. Okay, hold on
I'm
there,
not.
Derek. Okay, hold on. All kidding aside, there are so many layers to this story. So, Derek, what?
No. It's
Go
just,
ahead.
it was, I mean, as someone that wants the team to win, then obviously having him a part of this game, gives them more of an odds to win. Without him, it was going to be damn close. If not, I didn't even look at the lines. They probably was an underdog, possibly, without him. But they get him back. So that part, because I don't think anyone originally thought it should have been a red card, but it was. So I'm happy from the standpoint of them looking at it and saying, okay, he can play, or the ideal that he can play, because what he did wasn't that egregious. So as a player, you're happy that another player, especially on this stage, gets to play. But as a competitor, a guy that played at the highest level, this is blatantly wrong. I don't care what anybody says. I've always told my kids, listen, I love you, but I'm going to call wrong, and we can deal with it moving from there. But I'm not going to sit here and, be jovial Is that the word?
Jovial.
Excuse me. And say, yeah, because what I know is if this was another player on another team, say if it was Cristiano Ronaldo or one of these other great players and we were just getting ready to play them, we would be livid, and we would have every right to be livid as a fan base or as a country. We would be livid. So just because our country benefited from it doesn't still make me look at it as this is just completely wrong. Was it warranted? No, everybody knew it wasn't warranted. But this is the last time FIFA did this was in 1962. Previously before that, Cristiano Ronaldo was suspended before the World Cup match. So they reinstated him. It was something he did prior to that. So entering into the World Cup, they uplifted his suspension. He was on probation. So this has never been had. This has never happened, period. But then on top of that, you're corrupt and everybody sees it. I can't cheer for corruption. I just can't do it. And I'm not going to sit here and try. Am I happy that he's able to play? Absolutely. As an athlete, because if you look at the play, everybody said it shouldn't have been a red card.
And Willie, just as Derek said, this is the first time since 1962 that FIFA has allowed a player to appear in a game when they would have been suspended after being sent off in the World Cup.
You know, I've listened to so much discussion about this. And of course, one of the guys that has really jumped out as the person giving the dissenting opinion is Alexi Lalas. And so I hate to kind of side with him because why, Adam?
Because he apparently has
no fans. He has no fans. He's not very popular. But I think he's made some very good points. The rest of the world is ticked off for good reason, and Derek nailed it. If this were the best player on Belgium and the same thing had happened, we would be going crazy, going, why are you letting this guy play? It's unprecedented. You don't do that. It's not the rule. Alexi Lalas has said that. There will be now all kinds of people ganging up and saying, well, this was special treatment, etc. And I've been racking my brain today trying to ask myself the question, now that we know everything. And yesterday, we didn't know everything. Yesterday, we only knew they suspended the red card. And we're like, interesting. I guess they came to their senses because this is no longer about the bad call. And it was a terrible call.
Of course.
It never should have been a red card to begin with. It was really, really the worst call of the tournament to have that type of penalty with that kind of punishment, knowing that's the punishment. To give him a red card in that situation was horrible. That being said, FIFA has a very flawed system. We bellyached about it all day on the show Friday, so don't say we're just bringing this up now because we said it Friday. FIFA not having a system of appeal is a major, major problem, and that's at the center of this. But now the end result is everybody's ganged up, and the U.S. looks like it's getting special treatment just because, and not because they just all of a sudden said, hey, let's come up with a system of appeal. No, this was people calling in favors. And so we look bad. So I've asked myself, would I rather have Flo Balogun, one of the best goal scorers, best player on the team, not play so we can say, hey, we got screwed. We got to fight on without Flo, or be in this situation. Flo is playing, but we have a big guilt trip watching the game. I'm not sure what the answer is. It's dampened my enthusiasm to watch this game tonight, and that stinks because I am all in on this tournament. I watched both games yesterday. All right, I listened to both games. I was driving back from my family from the Grubs, as I talked about. I was driving all the way through Ohio, but I listened wire to wire, and then watched when I got back home, I watched the end of the England game, which is an incredible game. I'm all in on this tournament, and now I'm just like, wah, wah.
I think the ratings, which have already been through the roof, are going to be insane tonight because of this story. On top of the game, and we talked about it on Friday, the U.S. game against Bosnia was the most watched soccer telecast in English language history. Tonight's game was probably already going to top that add this controversy on top of that, and I am fascinated to see what the ratings are going to be. Andrew on our text line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com, says, here is my encapsulation of the situation. I accidentally drop a soda can, but get charged with littering by a police officer. But my dad is the mayor of the town, and so I get my dad to reprimand the police officer to drop the charge. Takeaway, 2 unethical wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah. Guess what the line is now?
On the game?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's a half a goal.
What was it before?
I don't know. I'm sure it's probably an even deal. I couldn't imagine it being the U.S. 1 goal or a goal and a half. So this had to be damn near an even game. Now,
I think that's probably fair. I think
Yeah.
because the U.S. is playing at home, basically, that might have tipped the scales slightly just because of the impact of crowd. A little bit like Mexico last night. Player for player, on paper, England had the better players. And this is me going by what the experts are saying. This is not me saying, oh, yeah, I know about, Harry Kane and where he plays and all those guys. No, I'm going by what the people said. But because of the home field advantage, and that was quite a unique atmosphere last night in the Azteca Stadium, that made it kind of a coin flip. So I think it was similar. But now that Balogun is playing, that's a key player that the United States have. So even if you look at it from just the perception, which is what a lot of the betting people are probably doing now, there's probably tons and tons of people that are not soccer fans that are putting a couple of ducats on this game just to get a little more action.
Here's the part that I dislike, because all of this will fall on the men's team. All of it. If they win, they will be hated. Hated. And it's not fair to them.
Because people will think the win has been tainted.
Absolutely. And if they win,
everything,
they will be hated. So you put them in a situation, because now everything that has come out about how it all happened, you put those players in a situation that they do not deserve to be in.
But even if the U.S. loses, the Americans are still in a bad situation because it will double the embarrassment. FIFA did y'all a favor. They bent the rules for you, and you still couldn't win. So, I mean, it does feel sort of like a no-win situation.
And imagine being the coach who, up to this point, looks like a genius, looks like a great personality. He is not American. Mauricio Pochettino, right, from Argentina. I mean, great personality. He's his own guy. He's got that shirt that he wears. He threw out the first pitch at the Mariners game the other day. All of a sudden now he's got to answer all the questions. And he's not responsible for all this. Flo Balogun, you think he signed up for this? He just was trying to make a play on a soccer ball. And now he's the guy that's right at the center of this. That is a lot of weight to carry, I think.
Neil says, never should have been a red card. The original rule wasn't followed, DMase. No red card should have come from a replay. Americans won't hate them. That's all that matters.
Well, you got to listen to the whole show from beginning to end. I didn't say that he deserved the red card. I didn't say that. I started off with saying he didn't deserve that. But I also said that there has been a precedent by FIFA. There has been a precedent. No one after 1962 ever had their red card rescinded during the match. I mean, during the FIFA World Cup. Never. So again, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have gotten the red card in the first place and we wouldn't be in this situation. But because he did, I also know that, listen, them giving it back to him under those circumstances, it's corrupt.
I think, again, to try to illustrate DMase's point, which I agree with, and when they start playing tonight, I'm sure my red, white, and blue colors are going to come out, and I'll be all in.
Be cheering.
I'm going to be doing it. But it's kind of like, I still have an icky feeling, because every other country is saying they agree that it was a bad red card. It's not about that. It's their country somewhere along in their history, because soccer is so important to pretty much everybody else more than it is here. They've said they can probably cite several red cards that had been given to their guy that had said that was a freakishly bad call, and we got screwed, and our guy had to sit out, so your guy's got to sit out. That's how they feel, and that makes perfect sense.
That's just
Because
like
that's how it's always been done.
yeah, that's just like
You can't
because
change the rules midstream.
because and listen, if you get offended by this, so be it. We don't look at soccer like the rest of the world looks at soccer. Okay, say if this was your favorite player on a football team going into the Super Bowl or the AFC or NFC Championship game. Say if it was that, and your guy got suspended for something that, okay, but the league said, hey, listen, this is a hard line betting. This is a hard line. He got suspended. Or somebody else from another team gets suspended. But then the commissioner says, you know what? Because so-and-so called whoever, his big brother, we're going to reinstate him. You would be livid. You would probably throw something at your television. That's how they look at soccer or football in their overseas. Seriously.
What was that again?
Football.
Yes. And it's not. It's only secondarily against the USA. They would be mad at Sweden or Belgium or whatever if this happened in there. But so I go back to the man with no fans, Alexi Lalas. He's been trying to tell everybody, you got a problem with it? Take it up with FIFA. Because don't get mad at us. Get mad at FIFA. And he's got a point, right? Yeah. FIFA opened themselves up because it's so absurd. And so when are they ever going to figure it out? Have a system. Like, think about how frustrated we get sometimes, Adam, with the hockey system of disciplinary. You know, that's not a fun job. George Peros, who went to Princeton, he's a tough guy. The Department of Player Safety, that so-and-so has got a 1-game suspension. Half the league is mad. Half the league is happy, and everywhere in between. We may not like it, but at least they have a system where you can say, if you don't like it, you can appeal. Here is the protocol. FIFA doesn't have anything close to that in the biggest tournament in the world, and it's not even close second. How can you not have something that simple? That's why this is happening.
615-737-1025. We are off to a hot start here on the program. Flo Balogun will play for the U.S. men's national team tonight.
Is he going to play?
He's going to play. Because
if they said he's starting for sure, like they could choose to sub him in. Would you think about doing that?
No, you put him in right away.
I agree. Get him in there.
Get him in. He has to start.
Sorry, not sorry.
Flo knows. 615-737-1025. We'll continue the conversation coming up next. Again, 615-737-1025. The Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix is coming to the Nashville Superspeedway Saturday, July 18th, and Sunday, July 19th. And 1025 The Game has your chance to win tickets to the IndyCar race. All you have to do is text in the keyword now, RACE, R-A-C-E, to 615-737-1025 to enter to win. For more information on the event, visit musiccitygp.com.
Jason Big Joe lives here. Tomorrow at noon, your sports live here on 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network. Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our forecast today putting us in the upper 80s, near 90 degrees. We'll feel just a little bit warmer, but no dangerous heat here for this Monday. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms, though, possible throughout the afternoon, straight through sunset. No severe weather is expected.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
7 days without power changes the way you think about everything. I'm Derek Mason, and when the winter storm hit, I wasn't ready. That's when I knew being prepared wasn't optional. That's why I called Tri-State Water, Power, and Air for a Kohler generator. Tri-State came to my home, did a free assessment, and installed the right Kohler generator. They handle all the service, too. Now, when Middle Tennessee weather hits, I have a peace of mind knowing my family is ready. Get prepared with a Kohler generator from Tri-State today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor portrayal.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The way that Patrick Mahomes started his career, if you're talking about him only getting one more, I would absolutely call it a disappointment. This trajectory pointed toward him being able to contend with Brady for who would have the most championships. And now we're just trying to figure out, are the Chiefs good enough to get to the playoffs?
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. The Rich Eisen Show.
One of the most professional jobs I've seen. Steve Gelbs, he's delivering a report on what happened with the Mets and the roster being a problem. Mr. Met shows up behind him and is dancing behind him as he's delivering this to camera.
My man is back there just full on like, oh, and this
has no clue.
Like the cameraman's not like, hey, dude, chill.
The Rich Eisen Show from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
The Game Nashville Sports Network. Your sports live here. We are 102.5 The Game.
So listen, a couple of things. First off, long live Article 27. If you got a problem with it, take it up with FIFA. This is some surprising but very, very welcome news to the U.S. men's national team, obviously to Balogun here. But I will say this. It is now USA versus the world after this decision, because any support or affinity or benefit of the doubt kind of just went out the window with this, because we will be seen after this, and I'm already starting to see some of this as being given special treatment right now. But you know what? It doesn't matter. U.S. against the world, that's fine. In order for the U.S. to win this game tomorrow right here against Belgium, they need all guns blazing, and they without a gun in Flo Balogun, and that was a big, big miss. So we will welcome him back, and we'll see what happens on the field.
That was Alexi Lalas on Fox Sports talking about the decision by FIFA to allow Flo Balogun to play despite earning a red card last week. It is Hair Metal Monday, according to Connor Newt, of all people.
Damn right it is. Connor Newt, who his dad was probably a hair metal guy, I guess. I mean, Connor was not alive when the prime hair metal was going, but hey.
Also, we're having Hair Metal Monday on the show featuring 3 men with no hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have hair.
Well,
I have enough hair for the 3 of us. We're good.
You do.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
I mean, compared to us, you've got the Axl Rose and, the Poison look. You got all those guys.
Eat your heart out, Bret Michaels.
Yes.
But I think that was probably the clip you were referring to, Willie, from Alexei Lalas.
It was, but no, it's notable that he was saying that yesterday before the news today of just how the process behind the scenes was going on. And so I am very curious, and I don't know if it's going to change. It probably only makes what he says even more true, rather than kind of the lovable underdogs that used to not care about soccer. Now you've got fans, which you've probably had a mixed bag of how the world views this game before. And now it's a lot easier to hate on the Americans. Like, they don't care about soccer anyway, man. I don't want them to win. But it does bring up another point. And I haven't listened to what they've said so far today in promoting the game tonight. Right now, Spain and Portugal, which is the game where the U.S. would play the winner if they're able to win this game tonight, it's going on. So the coverage on Fox has been going on all day. I don't know how they're going to report and discuss this part, because I'm not sure. I just give you my perspective, because the Predator broadcast used to be under the umbrella of Fox Sports. And they do what I think most general sporting broadcasts prefer, and that is stay away from religion and politics. Don't bring it in. Cover the game. In fact, that was sports' motto. Cover the game. But this is where the lines cross, and you almost can't ignore it, right? You have to address it on some level. And like Thierry Henry and Zlatan, who I really like, they're awesome. They don't want to talk about that at all.
No.
They can tell you about FIFA, I'm sure. So they're going to have to get in there a little bit. But they just, as Thierry Henry said very eloquently, goes, we analyze, we don't make predictions. We just want to talk about what we're seeing on the field.
Now, I do find it somewhat entertaining from this perspective. I feel like a lot of you now are experiencing what it's like to root for the villain when everyone complains your team is getting all the calls, aka welcome to my world as a Duke fan. So y'all are experiencing what I experience every basketball season. So I do think that is somewhat entertaining. Dustin in Hopkinsville on our text line says the game being played in America needs its best players playing. They did it for ratings, not because Trump called. They were doing this without the call, in my opinion. Pick a straw. They are mad as hell. We're getting great at soccer. They'd be mad no matter what. People will watch because of it's good, even though it's bad. We're the LeBron of the world. We are awesome. We get the flop treatment.
I don't really understand what that person is saying. Listen.
Basically, as Americans, we're hosting the tournament. We're getting preferential treatment.
Well, of course, yes. And it's working in our benefit, this go around. Had it been another country, it would be working in their benefit. I'm not sure if they would have rescinded the red card had phone calls not been made. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they would have rescinded the red card. I don't know. But when you insert yourself, when you insert yourself into a process that already seemed tainted, you don't do anything but taint it even more. And again, the American players do not deserve that. Balogun does not deserve it. He didn't deserve the red card, but he really doesn't deserve this as well.
One texter says they did it for Ronaldo just a few weeks ago.
No,
under
they
Rule
didn't.
27. Why the
Not
controversy?
within the tournament.
He got suspended before the
prior to
tournament. Yes, he got suspended.
And there
before
had been
the
a
tournament.
precedent. There had been a precedent for that.
That's why people are so upset.
Right. They wouldn't be that upset
exactly.
otherwise.
Had Ronaldo been suspended during the
he
FIFA World
received
Cup,
a direct red card during Portugal's final World Cup qualifier in November.
Exactly.
So it wasn't during the tournament. Let me see how many. I think it was 3 matches.
3 games.
Yes. So basically, Balogun is on probation, right?
Yes.
Much like Joey Chestnut was
Well,
when he won the hot dog.
Very
contest
similar,
last weekend.
very similar to the Delta House after the Toga Party, double secret probation. Well, actually, that might have been before the Toga Party, where they violated the double.
There's
secret
nothing
probation.
double or secret about this probation. It is
Right.
the talk of the world.
So
right now
is the probation. Can he get a yellow card? Because that's what I don't understand. Because if he does something, to warrant a red card, either way you was going to get it no matter what. But I'm wondering, like,
Great question of what that could happen.
Exactly.
tonight.
Yeah, like, are they saying if he get one yellow card, then he's gone?
I don't know about the yellow, but they said within the statement that, just like when you get the probation, if he does it again, there will be serious ramifications or whatever. They had a very wordy word salad, the kind of statement that Adam really frowns upon.
Yes.
As a writer.
Yes.
I mean, it was very fancy sounding and word salady, but it was basically, if you do it again, we're really going to be mad. But you can play tonight. But that's a question. I don't know about a yellow tonight. And he's obviously he's an aggressive player. He's a powerful player. There are going to be battles with him and the ball tonight with defenders and the ref. I'd hate to be the ref tonight.
It's basically how I parent my children. Okay, you did it this time, but next time you better not do that again. And then I make some sort of empty threat. Tommy says they, I assume meaning the world, will be really pissed if Balogun scores a goal that wins the game by 1. Now, if you're the U.S. men's national team, you sort of touched on it before we went to break, Willie. Do you start Balogun or do you sub him off the bench? Like, I mean, I assume Balogun is starting, but if you're in charge of the U.S. men's national team,
I did see some people suggest that would be the move that they would make. They would not start him, kind of acknowledging we got a freebie and then go from there. But I don't think you can do that. I think, look, he's one of your best players. They said you can play.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
gotta
their
play him.
decision. You got to play him.
Glenn says, Derek, how can you say he didn't deserve the red card and be against him getting it suspended?
Gosh, you must not be a parent. That person must not be a parent.
Glenn, let us know if you're a parent.
Yeah, because it's listen, I can say two things can exist because there hasn't been a precedent set for it. If you get a red card, even though I know it wasn't warranted, a red card means what? You automatically get suspended. There's no litigation. They even said we're talking about, there's nothing. You are just suspended for the next game. And if you do anything when you come, you can, and they can suspend you longer if they choose to. That's why I'm saying, like, two things can live in the same space. I can say that I wasn't in agreement with the red card. I don't think anybody was. But I also can say because of their rules, these ain't my rules, ain't Willy's, it's not Adams, not Connor's. This is their rules, the FIFA. They said they will never, and they end up doing it. So yes, I can say he didn't deserve it, but also say that, hey, listen, these are their rules. And they seem to have broken them. They ain't even bend them, they broke them.
Let's go to our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com, and welcome in Clint. Clint, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
All right, here's a very simple solution. Don't play him.
Thank you, Clint.
Even though FIFA has cleared him, just don't play him, and then there's no controversy.
Would you do that, Clint? He's your best goal scorer. Yeah?
Yes, I would.
You think
Yeah,
you think we're that good?
I've coached all. I've suspended my best players. Yeah, you don't play him, and then that way there's no controversy.
I think it would
Thank
be.
you, Clint.
I think that would be an easier way to go if he had really committed a violation that said, that probably was a red card. If we're looking ourselves in the mirror, that was a red card. But it was such a blatantly bad call. I think you can justify it by saying this is a really big game. This is the most. This is going to be, like Adam set the table, the most watched game in American soccer history.
It was already going to be.
Already going to be.
Even without this controversy, it was already going to be the most watched telecast.
The USA almost never makes it to the final 8. I don't know if maybe it once. I don't know when. Maybe like in 1930 or so. I can't remember. But they don't. This is the best team they've had. He got screwed. You can justify. I think you got to play him. And so I only hope that Flo Balogun can keep a clear head playing, which that could be really tough. You may not. He's human. I hope he can play his game and do his thing, but there's a lot of weight that he's carrying there.
This does feel like, to use the hackneyed the U.S. men's national team doesn't often get this far in the World Cup. And if the U.S. can win tonight, perhaps it can help turn the sport into more of a cultural phenomenon in this country. I always hesitate to say that because it's like, well, will more people be interested in the World Cup now because of what happened with the U.S. men's national team? I'm not sure in other examples if there is a link between the two. For example, I don't know if there was a connection between the U.S. men's hockey team winning Olympic gold and the ratings for the Stanley Cup playoffs and specifically the Stanley Cup final. I can't tell you that the reason why those ratings were so strong was because people became more interested in hockey because of the Olympics. I don't know if there's connective tissue there. So I hesitate to be like, well, the further the U.S. men's national team goes, the more popular soccer will be in this country, because although soccer is popular in this country, it's never going to rise to football and baseball and basketball. It's just not going to happen. But it does feel like a really big opportunity for, like, I feel like, you guys tell me if you disagree. If the U.S. wins tonight, we would play the winner of the game going on right now between Portugal and Spain.
Which is 0-0, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
In the 73rd
0-0.
minute.
Now, I would assume that the U.S. team would be, I don't know if a heavy underdog against either of these clubs. People who are smarter than me can tell me.
It would, I think, underdog clearly against Spain. Portugal, more of a coin toss, if I had to guess.
Yes. But, like, it feels like if the U.S. wins tonight, anything beyond that feels like gravy.
I think it is because of the expectations. And I think we talked about this when they first started, because we were wondering, how many people are people really going to be into the World Cup this year? Considering the U.S. team, this is supposed to be the best team they've had in a very long time, and their odds are going further than they have been. We're up. So you're going to get people that were going to watch it regardless. I think what happens now, the longer, because we talked about the longer they play, the more eyes you're going to get to it. But as humans, the next time another reel starts, we're on to the next reel. So when football season starts, we ain't going to be talking about the World Cup no more, regardless of how far the USA men's team go. They may get a bump as far as participation, because I think they get a bump. Soccer gets a bump because of how people are starting to look at football from a youth standpoint. They're letting their kids play soccer rather than play football. But when you're talking about professional or college, the bump is going to be small at best, I think.
Scott, let's go to you on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Quickly, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to clear something up. This Article 27 rule has been around just a few years, but it's been used quite frequently. I think Derek said it was the first time it's been used in a World Cup for suspension that was in the World Cup, but it's been used a bunch in World Cup qualifying games where the player would have been suspended for the World Cup.
Right.
It was like Cristiano Ronaldo would have missed 3 games.
Right. We said that.
And he deliberately elbowed a guy ahead, and he got his taken away. And guys from France and the Netherlands and Croatia, all in recent years have been reinstated where they got red cards and multiple game suspensions in World Cup qualifiers that would have kept them out of the World Cup. So it's not that big of a deal. This is one case where they got it right because he didn't do it on purpose, unlike Cristiano Ronaldo.
You know what, and Scott, I would agree. I would agree 100% if there was a system of appeal that doesn't exist. But how it got done is why the rest of the world is angry. And in most people's mind around the world, there's a distinction between World Cup qualifying and introducing that rule as opposed to within the World Cup tournament, where, as Derek has pointed out, that's the difference. That is the unprecedented part.
615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your reaction. But coming up next, Turron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, will join us. It's been a couple of weeks since we caught up with TD, so we'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Catch the sounds, then keep it going at Social Cantina, Germantown's home for tacos, margaritas, and good times.
Blackberry Smoke is bringing their Rattle, Ramble, and Roll tour to Ryman Auditorium July 25th, and 1025 The Game wants to send you there. Don't miss your shot to experience one of rock's most celebrated live bands. Enter now at thegamenashville.com for your chance to win tickets.
Which young professionals are shaping the future of Middle Tennessee? Find out at the 19th Annual Nellis, presented by the Jack C. Massey College of Business at Belmont University. Join YP Nashville and the Nashville Area Chamber on July 9th at Marathon Music Works to celebrate the region's top young professionals and the impact they're making across our region. Network with emerging leaders, celebrate this year's finalists, and be there as the 2026 Nellis winners are revealed. Space is limited. Register now at nashvillechamber.com/Nellis.
Hey, you're always welcome to call or text.
615-737-1025.
Let's head back to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I'm trying to really give him a chance. I'm not a Titans fan, but hey.
Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing today?
Oh, we're fantastic.
615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Your sports live here on 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
When it comes to your yard, reliability matters. Shop with confidence at the Home Depot and get 4th of July savings on Ryobi, the #1 cordless outdoor power brand. It's time to choose your power. Both the Ryobi 18-volt and 40-volt self-propelled mower kits are on special buy for an even lower price of $429 each, was $479. Ryobi's battery platform delivers the power, runtime, and dependability you need to tackle yard work with ease. Shop 4th of July savings on Ryobi outdoor power only at the Home Depot. While supplies last, pricing valid June 25th through July 8th. US only. See store online for details.
In case you missed Robbie and Rex Road.
I think this one has a chance to be that for the Predators. Like, you get the long-term security if you're Maverick Bork. I mean, $5.5 million per year is nothing to sneeze at, but I also think there's a chance that with the cap being what it is in the NHL and it's going up, like, he could outperform that contract pretty quickly.
Wake up with Robbie and Rex Road. Weekday mornings at 6. Your sports live here on 1025 The Game.
Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Your garage door is the biggest moving part of your home and the most overlooked until it breaks. Then suddenly, it's the most important thing. Whether it's stuck closed, making awful grinding noises, or it's a real eyesore, we offer same-day service, emergency repairs, and full garage door and opener replacements. With honest pricing, no gimmicks, and experienced technicians who know exactly what they're doing. From worn-out springs, noisy rollers, to a beautiful custom install. We've seen it all and fixed it all for 26 years. Want a quieter, more reliable garage door or opener? We've got you covered. Need to boost your home's curb appeal? Choose from hundreds of stylish, durable, energy-efficient garage doors. Doors that fit your budget and enhance the beauty of your home. Find out why thousands of Middle Tennessee homeowners have chosen All Four Seasons, a family-owned business you can trust. Call us today to get started.
They call this one Bill.
Whoa, aliens? Am I in a spaceship?
Affirmative, Bill.
Well, what's with the laser saw?
Relax. We are cutting our bill in half.
What?
An Xfinity mobile transmission says you can cut your bill in half.
Oh, your mobile bill, not me, Bill.
Xfinity Mobile also says we can try it free for a year. Free.
Yes, with no commitment. Can we put the saw away?
I am reluctant. But we will find another being to bisect.
That's not sci-fi. It's Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity Internet members cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings compares one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees, extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
At Electronic Express, 4th of July savings are happening now. From TVs and appliances to computers, gaming, and audio, you'll find great deals throughout the store and online. The more you buy, the more you save, with up to $1,200 in appliance rebates on qualifying purchases from top brands. Plus, buying local has its perks, including 24 months interest-free financing and free delivery on thousands of items. Shop in-store or at electronicexpress.com.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Interact with the show on Instagram by following at The Game Nashville. Connect with the guys on X at 1025 The Game. DMase, Bingen, and Donick DVD. Your sports live here on 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
DMase, Vingan and Donick, 1025. The Game, Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. It's been a few weeks since we've talked to our next guest. So let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome our friend Turron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, who is presented by Bart Durham, Andrea Law. TD, it's been a minute. How are you?
Oh, it has. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any thoughts on the World Cup?
Hey, listen, the red card never should have been called in the first place. So let them come on back, and the U.S. is going to beat Belgium and keep it rolling.
So I don't know if this came out while you were on vacation, Turron, but the NFL 100 list is slowly being unveiled, and a lot of Titans fans were up in arms over Jeffrey Simmons ranking 83rd on the NFL Top 100. By the way, for those who don't know, the players themselves vote on this list. What was your thought? Is that true or not?
They say the players, but I don't for sure know that that process is a little strange.
Either way, 83rd on the list. What are your thoughts on this? And if you were putting together a list of the top 100 players, in what range would you have Jeffrey Simmons?
Yeah, he would be like in the 20 to 30 range. I think at 83rd is just ridiculous for the best interior defensive lineman in football, and there wasn't really a conversation to be had about that after this season. So, yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's ridiculous. I know Titans fans are upset, but you know, Titans fans, some of them are upset just for living, you know. So I don't really put too much stock in you know, they're being upset, making it an even worse thing, but it is a little ridiculous.
Now, TD, what do you think heading into camp? What do you think the biggest strengths are for the Titans and their biggest weakness right now?
Biggest strength, I would say, is that defensive line, you know, with Franklin Myers and Simmons, and you got Solomon Thomas on there. You got Jacob Martin is the guy. Just keep his name in your mind, because I think he's going to have a pretty solid year, a surprisingly good year. Jalen Harrell, I mean, they're deep. I mean, Keldon Falk, you know, Jackie Marshall, they're deep on the D-line. But area for improvement, biggest area for improvement, I think, I got to say the offensive line, because, I mean, you got Peter Skoronski in 4 question marks. You know what I mean? So I think that's really the area where they have to – that's the biggest area for improvement. And I don't know necessarily it's improvement by adding another piece as it is Dan Moore playing better, J.C. Latham being healthy and playing better, and them figuring out, you know, what they're going to do at center and right guard.
Now, how do you see the safety position? Because Amani Hooker, I mean, he's been a stalwart back there, but he also has missed a lot of games.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be something to watch, because Amani Hooker has missed games. Kevin Winston Jr. has missed some games, you know, in his one season. But if those guys are healthy, I think that's a pretty solid tandem. Jarek Reed is another guy, Tony Adams. You got to put those guys in the mix. So I think they're solid when healthy, but that healthy part of it is a question mark.
How many, because this is probably from top to bottom, the deepest receiving core that the Titans have had in many years. Guys that they predict are going to be great, in Carnell Tate to a wily veteran like Ridley. And then you got the 2 young guys that, you know, took their lumps last year, but they showed improvement. And then you have the bottom half of the roster. How do you think it looks after DK and Alec?
Yeah, that's an interesting part of it. You throw Wan'Dale Robinson in there. So I think Bryce Oliver still has a chance. I mean, KJ Osborne is someone you have to consider too, because when Ridley was not taking part in 7-on-7 and team period, you know, he was running that Z position. So that is something to consider. He's a guy that's going to be in the mix. Restrepo, I think, is going to be in the mix. I don't know that he makes the roster, but the one thing that he does have in his advantage is, you know, if you look at that top 5 or so, there's only one dedicated true slot guy, and that's Wan'Dale Robinson. So if they want to have a backup there, they could do that. I mean, we know DK has played the slot before for them, but it's a different degree of slot play than what Wan'Dale does.
Turron Davenport is with us. We're talking a little Titans football here in July, just a few weeks away from the start of training camp. Turron, I want to go back to the process part of the Jeffrey Simmons list, because I read somewhere along the line, and I think this is the case, that it was with the player voting part of it, that a lot of times players are just going to vote for their teammates. They're biased, right? They're going to have some biases in there. And I was just going to ask you, have you ever tried to administer one of those? And Adam, I want to throw that same question at you as well to see what kind of feedback you guys get when you guys go to players and just try to get a player poll of some sort, regardless of whether it's top 100 players or anything else.
Yeah, we do those a lot for NFL Nation. Our 32 for 32 stories. What I've found is it's best not to ask in a scrum. You just go up to them before or after the crowd and ask. But they've been pretty open. They've been pretty. Oh yeah, you know what? I really liked. I remember Rashaan Evans. He really loved. What's my man from LSU that went to the Bucks? Man, it just slipped my mind. The linebacker. It slipped my mind. Regardless, he was really big. We were asking about linebacker and he was like, well, LSU, they got White. Oh, I forget his first name.
Devin White.
Devin White. Yeah. Yeah. So, the guys are pretty open. And that's provided that you find, because you do have some guys who are like, man, I don't pay attention to none of that. So it's hit or miss.
In my experience, Willie, when I would conduct those anonymous player polls, I would do what Turron did. I would try to get the player one-on-one, but I would also tell the player, if you can pick someone other than one of your own teammates, unless that teammate is incredibly qualified. Like if I were asking a Predators player about defensemen in the league, Roman Yossi's probably going to come up because he's one of the top defensemen in the league. But I would
where your brain's going to go first, probably
right.
in most cases.
But I would usually I would plant the seed, think about players outside this dressing room. Who are players who you enjoy watching when you're not playing? That's a way I would get around it. So they would immediately think of other players because they're obviously playing with their own teammates. But that's one way I would get around.
Yeah. And so I don't know what the criteria was for this particular list, because I'm trying to figure out why Jeffrey Simmons would be 83. But it would seem to me, Turron, that most of the players, they want to give a good answer. They want to do a good job, but it's not like they're going home and getting on a computer and making a list and saying, oh, here's my list of 100. That's the last thing they're going to do. They're not going to do that. So you're going to get what you get there unless you really try to fine tune it or make it a little easier on those guys. So I think that's a flaw within the system.
I agree.
Like if I'm voting for the Heisman or the Wooden Award, which I actually do, I'm going to try to do some homework. I'm just not going to wing it on the day of, or ask the guy at the locker next to me, who's everybody else saying?
Safe to say,
they said Derek Mason's the best wide receiver. Oh yeah, go with Derek Mason. That's my vote. I've actually seen people do that just because they want to give an answer, but they haven't put in the time and dedication to really do it the way it should be done.
TD, I'm going to ask a question off of what Willie just said, because you see Jeffrey Simmons at what, 90? What was he? 83.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about the team that they had, and the only other person that could be higher than him is DK, and I can't see that happening. So he's probably the only guy on that list from the Titans team.
Probably. Maybe Skoronski, but yeah, I think he's probably the only one on the list. And I get it. A lot of what DK has done, that's why I did that story on him, leading the league in all-purpose yards, because it was just kind of brushed aside,
Turron Davenport, ESPN, NFL Nation, Titans reporter, has been our guest on DMase. Vingan and Donachie joins us every Monday. Training camp just a few weeks away. Turron, great catching up. As always, a pleasure. We'll do this next week.
All right, for sure. Appreciate you guys.
Always a pleasure. 615-737-1025. España with a goal late in this match.
Another goal after the 90th minute, or right at the 90th minute. There's been a ton of them.
Spain 1, Portugal 0, 91-27. So game's almost over. Well, you never know with extra time. But it's closing in on the end of the match. If the U.S. men's national team advances tonight, the Americans would play Spain if this score holds. 615-737-1025. We've got some more reaction to our World Cup conversation. We'll get to that next. But there's also something going on with the Tennessee Titans that I think kind of stinks. And we'll discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Want to see our smiling faces?
First of all, I'm wrong all the time.
Don't say we didn't warn you.
Kelsey's going to give everything he's got. He's going to do that on wedding night, too.
Subscribe to our YouTube page at 1025 The Game. Watch exclusive content and stream our shows live.
I want an A-plus player when I'm picking in the top 5.
Period.
The Game is on YouTube at 1025 The Game. Subscribe today.
Joe, you don't know ball even when they play real football.
Your sports live here on 1025 The Game and YouTube.
Hey, this is Derek Mason. You heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a resolution or some type of goal to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment. But I got some good news, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
ElectronicExpress.com. We've got that.
Okay, picture this. Your neighbor's lights are on, yours aren't. Soon after an outage occurs, you watch a truck pull up next door and unload a generator because they planned ahead. Joe Rexford here to let you know about Rapid Response Generators. It's a membership that guarantees you priority access to backup power when the grid goes down. While everyone else is scrambling, members get served first. So don't be the one watching from the dark. Visit rapidresponsegenerators.com and join today.
I'm Emmett Smith. Opioid poisonings cause the most accidental deaths in the U.S., and I've lost loved ones. But now I'm prepared to save a life. Just remember, lay, spray, stay. Lay the person on their back, use Narcan nasal spray, dial 911, and stay with the person until help arrives. Continue to administer additional doses as needed. And opioid poisoning can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Always be ready to rescue. Learn more at readytorescue.com.
Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Good afternoon. I'm Connor Newt with your Game Center update. In the World Cup, U.S. men's national team star player Florian Balogun will play tonight after being ruled eligible from FIFA in an attempt from the U.S. government. Belgium attempted to appeal the decision today to reverse Balogun's suspension and render him unable to play tonight. However, FIFA has denied said request. The U.S. men's national team kicks off against Belgium tonight, live from Lumen Field in Seattle at 7 p.m. In the NFL, former Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold, who is facing legal issues, cleared waivers today and is now a free agent. According to his agent, 3 NFL teams have reached out to Arnold and have expressed interest. Arnold is expected to visit said NFL teams and sign later this week. In the world of college basketball, former West Virginia, Arizona, Kentucky, and Cincinnati guard Kerr Kriisa is facing time in prison after a $2.2 million fraud scandal. According to the Department of Justice, Kriisa allegedly carried out a scheme to obtain nearly $2.2 million from multiple victims using false representations, fabricated identities, and deceptive communications. Kriisa played 6 college seasons, including his last with Cincinnati, before injuring his shoulder in February. And the Nashville Predators have announced that they have re-signed defenseman Justin Barron to a 1-year, $1.57 million contract. Last season for Barron, 52 games played with no goals, 9 assists, and 9 points with a -1 in the plus-minus department. For the Game Nashville Sports Network, I'm Connor Newt.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios.
He did emphasize leader.
WPRT FM Pegram, WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Your sports live here.
I want somebody to seriously try to argue with me on this.
Are the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Tell me around him who's good.
On ESPN 1025, The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
They're ready to cover it all with you on the drive home.
You guys are going to get me in trouble.
Oh, Lord.
No, you're already in trouble.
Former Titans wide receiver and Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Derek Mason.
That is a clear indictment of what people think of your team.
Predators TV voice Willy Donning.
There it is! 600 goals!
And reporter Adam Vingen are.
And I'm a nerd, and I look at the numbers.
DMase, Vingen, and Donning. DVD.
I'm not doing it. I'm not giving it.
Why not?
You're the SEC snob. That's why.
Your sports live here. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. This is 1025 The Game.
DMase, Vingen, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, and Connor Newt here with you. A lot of reaction to Flo Balogun being cleared to play tonight for the U.S. men's national team against Belgium. That game in Seattle, a 7 p.m. Central start. We'll all be watching. It's going to be, the ratings are going to be insane because the ratings have climbed throughout the World Cup. The past match against Bosnia was the most watched soccer telecast in English language history, according to Fox. I can only imagine that this is going to top it. And when you put the Balogun controversy on top of that, I would love to know. There's no way Fox or Nielsen or whatever can quantify this. I would love to know when these numbers come out, how many people watch this game because of the Balogun story that weren't planning on watching it before the Balogun story?
It's a good question. If that adds a layer. I'm also curious if the ratings for the other games have gone up steadily. I would think that that's the case.
If I recall correctly,
last night's game.
If I recall correctly, for the U.S. men's national team specifically, the second match in group play, which was against Australia, dipped from the first game because the game started
like 10 o'clock,
like in
yeah.
the after, like
Oh, no,
early
early
afternoon.
yeah.
Like we were on the air when the game was going on. So when it's not in prime time, you can expect a dip.
But like Spain and Mexico, I would guess that 20 years ago, that game wouldn't have really moved the needle much. But I would bet you a lot of people watched that game last night. It is now a final. Spain with a goal in the final extra time or stoppage time in the second half in the 90th-ish minute, 91st minute. I guess that's right. Is that how you say that? 90+1 is what it says. They beat Portugal 1-0, so they await the winner of USA versus tonight's opponent, Belgium.
So for what it's worth, last Tuesday, June 30th, 10.43 million viewers watched Mexico versus Ecuador on Fox, the second most watched non-USMNT FIFA Men's World Cup telecast in English language U.S. history, excluding a World Cup final.
Wow.
A lot of qualifiers there. That was Mexico versus Ecuador.
And that was a late game, too.
10.43 million.
That game started 9 or 10 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah, so just imagine had it started at the original time.
Let's see here. One texter says, well, the rest of the world I can't say what Viking Matt is saying, but let's just put it this way. If you were a fan at one point of D-Generation X, you know what Viking Matt is telling the world it can do. USA, USA, Matt also mentions. And look, as I said at the top of the show, I am the most casual of casual soccer fans, all right? I will not pretend I watch any soccer outside of the World Cup, but this World Cup has been captivating. I, like Willy, watched England versus Mexico last night. No rooting interest in that game, but it was a fabulous game. Of course, over the weekend, Argentina escaped from Cape Verde.
That was a classic too.
That was a really good
game. We'll talk about some World Cup adjacent college football playoff stuff during the 5 o'clock hour, but we've been treated to some outstanding games. So I preface this all by saying I'm not an expert, and I'm not going to pretend that I am. It feels like there have been 2 bad processes here. All right. The first bad process was Balogun getting a red card to begin with. From everything I've read, it probably shouldn't have been a red card. That seemed to be a bad process. I also think suspending the red card is also a bad process because it sets a dangerous precedent. The next time Lionel Messi gets a red card, is the head of Argentina going to phone the president of FIFA and have this changed? Like, I'm trying to be careful here because politics has been injected into this. I think there have been, again, not an expert, my gut feeling, 2 bad processes here. The red card itself and the suspension of the red card.
Yeah, of course he deserved the red card, but as yes, we're going to be careful, but why should we? Honestly, it's not like we interjected all of this stuff into the game. So now you're asking everybody, not you, Adam, but you're asking everybody, oh, we need to be careful about this because sensitive. Well, we ain't the ones that did this. So why it's like blaming somebody, like somebody did something and then blaming that person, the other person that told you, blaming them and say, oh, we can't talk too much about it. Like, why not? I mean, everybody understands what's going on here. I'm glad that he's able to play. Now the odds are slightly in our favor, which is good. But again, you can't ignore the big elephant in the room. And I understand why people don't want to sort of tackle that part, but it's been interjected into it. And then you ask everybody else, oh, just don't talk about that. Don't mention that. When we didn't want to mention it at first, but you just so happened to set it on our lap. Now we got to discuss it.
One texter says here, I'll watch hoping we get stomped because of the cheating involved.
Whoa.
Okay.
Oh, hey, wait.
I don't hope we get stomped.
I'm not going there.
I'm not going that far.
I'm not that bad.
Again, I am
I'm not going that far.
I am anti-corruption. I know I am taking a brave stance here. I am anti-corruption, and FIFA is nakedly corrupt, but the corruption is helping me, so I'll let the corruption slide just this once. It's okay for now. So we'll continue to get into the World Cup match throughout the program.
There's just no process. That's the thing. Like, if they had gone through a process and the judge had somehow heard both sides of the argument and ruled in his favor, then they can be mad all they want, but there's at least a process. What they're mad at is there's no precedent, and nobody knows what the process was other than what we found out earlier today.
James says the call was BS. FIFA not stepping in on their own is BS. Trump just made sure the U.S. didn't get screwed again because making us play a man down for a good majority of the second half is crazy, and we still didn't allow a goal.
Right.
Well,
again, that's not the issue, but
exactly.
But look, it's like I'll use my team, the Mets, right? Now I'm going to go way back in time to try to make this as not about politics as least dangerous as I can. Richard Nixon was a Mets fan, but it's not like he called the commissioner of baseball and said, hey, the Mets traded Tom Seaver to the Reds. We got to stop that. We need Tom Seaver on the Mets. Overturn the trade. Like,
I wish I would have.
Like, I wish he would have done that, but he did not supposed to do that.
Speaking
They
of
have a
things,
process.
Speaking of things that some of you may think is BS, the Tennessee Titans. Not the Tennessee Titans. There's more to that sentence.
That's it.
Oh, wow. Aaron said it.
There it is. Have a good night, everyone.
Mic drop.
We'll see you tomorrow.
That's not what I meant. For those of you specifically who are season ticket holders at the old Nissan Stadium, as you know, this is the final upcoming season of the old Nissan Stadium before the new Nissan Stadium opens. The old stadium is going to be torn down, I think, right after this season is over, sometime early next year. And according to our friend Paul Kaharski at paulkaharski.com, Nissan Stadium is going to be selling mementos from the old stadium. But apparently, you cannot purchase your specific seat if you are a season ticket holder. The FAQ on the Titans website about this says, unfortunately, due to timing constraints and structural logistics, it will not be possible to purchase specific seats. However, we do anticipate making a number of stadium seats available for purchase, with details being finalized soon. Fair or foul, Tennessee Titans fans who had season tickets at the old stadium will not be allowed to buy their old seat before the old stadium is demolished.
I would say, and I don't know how many of fans there are that fits in this category that I'm about to say. But I think if you are a day one season ticket holder, day one, and you've kept your season tickets all the way up until now, I think you should be awarded your seat. If you have not changed seat, if that has been your seat since the inception of that stadium, and went through 2 or 3 names, if you stayed in that one seat or in that one, I think as a sort of token of gratitude, you shouldn't have to pay for it. I think they should give it to you.
They could do.
Yeah, I think they should give it to you.
Could do.
If you've been in that one seat or those few seats from 1997 till now, I think they should give them to you.
I agree. Come on. I know this is a charity thing. It's not.
Yes, it's
the
money is going to Titans Foundation.
But how about at least you give them the seat, and if they want to make a donation on top of that,
encourage them to make a donation.
That would be fine if they like. But let's not. I mean, come on. How many people can it be at this point? Like how many original? A few thousand? There's still,
and that's what I'm saying. Like
thousands and thousands of other seats that you could sell and raise a lot of money.
Paul mentions that in Buffalo, where the Bills are moving out of their old venue and into new Highmark Stadium this season, fans were able to buy their seats. According to the Titans, available items may include limited seats, signage, memorabilia, and turf. What would you want?
I've never gotten the turf.
What would you want from old Nissan Stadium, Derek Mason?
I would want the locker.
Do you know which
that
one
Super
was
Bowl
yours?
team? Yeah, I know which one. That Super Bowl team, who was ever on that Super Bowl team, I think they should be awarded their locker. Honestly, that's just. I think that would be again another
nice
contribute.
Yeah.
Like this is a homage to the Super Bowl team. That was your locker. You get in that. You get to have that locker. It's like okay. But I think that should, if I was a player, I would be asking for that.
There's lots of ways to raise money for charity, but this is a unique opportunity to reward your most loyal fans. And you can still ask those fans if they'd like to make a donation. They'll be aware of what it is, but it should be a gesture to the most important people in the history of that stadium. The stadium doesn't get built without the original PSL buyers. Right? The history isn't the same without that Super Bowl team the very first year the stadium opened. So that should be the thinking to me. But again, the Titans are usually disconnected from the will of the fans. They miss opportunities time and time again to connect with the fans. So I have a very sarcastic, what would I want from the stadium?
What's that?
The broken down flower pots that they never treated. All the dead plants that they neglected for years and years.
You said double dead.
I mean, it was ridiculous how little they did.
The weathered player banners on the side of the stadium. If you can fit them in your home.
It's very faded shots of Eddie George and those guys. And we used to joke about it. Derek, you remember, like 10 or 12 years ago, they went years without painting the light poles. So the red in particular on the flagpole, and it's like it again now. It's not red anymore. It's more burnt pink. I don't know. It's very, very light. It needs another coat. I get it. They're not going to do it now. There's only 1 year left. So what's the point? But it looks good when it's red. It makes a difference. It makes an older stadium not look so old.
I could tell you what locker I was in as soon as I came in. From either door. And now they may have changed the lockers, how they look from the original ones. But as soon as you come in, you go straight all the way to the end. And my locker, because the receivers were over in that area, my locker was right over in that area. So I know exactly where it is.
One texter says, I want the piece of turf the Bengals hit the game-winning field goal from in the playoff game so that I can burn it to a charred crisp. It's like when did the Cubs get a hold of the Bartman ball and then destroyed it? Maybe that's maybe that's
somebody
what,
got it. Like they put dynamite in it and just
yes.
Oh, wow.
So this texter, there's an opportunity for you to showcase that piece of turf where the Bengals hit the game-winning field goal in the playoff game and then blow it into smithereens for everybody.
Who gets the yard line that the Lorenzo Neal hand off to Frank Wycheck, lateral to Kevin Dyson? What yard line was it? Like the 35 maybe?
Somewhere.
I mean, it was right along the yard line. Like that would be a cool piece of the turf to have, right?
Yeah.
Where the ball went, the true definition
It was a
of
lateral.
straight across. Yeah.
One texter
It was a
says-
lateral.
It was a lateral.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
Are we relitigating the Music City
It was a
Bears
lateral.
right now?
It was a lateral.
There's nothing
No,
to
it was a
litigate.
lateral.
It was a lateral.
But you ask Buffalo people, they might think different.
They do feel different. They do.
One texter says, just bring a screwdriver and rip your seats out.
Who's going to be the first person that tries that in the first preseason game?
Oh my!
Get that real high end Black and or whatever the high end tool is. From the
You
garage.
work on it over time.
Yeah.
You loosen it a little bit in
Yeah.
the first preseason game. Every home game, you just twist the screws, just loosen the screws a little bit,
Like
and then-
Shawshank.
Yes, and then when the season is over, the season finale, the Nissan Stadium finale, you just run with your chair.
Throw it over the side. and
Yeah.
then-
That's a great idea. We know this. They're not going to check it. They're not going to check it.
What good does it do them?
All you got to do is get that tool in there.
Oh,
It's
man.
like the Morgan Freeman. You got to make sure he's a guy that can get things. You got the little tools.
I know
you
a
sneak
guy.
through the security. Yeah.
615-737-1025. I do want to hear from Titans fans who apparently can't buy their own seats at Old Nissan Stadium before the old stadium is demolished. I would want to know what y'all would take from Old Nissan Stadium before it goes kablamo early next year. 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction to that. Plus, coming up next, one NHL treat. Speaking of kablamo, one NHL team dropped a nuclear warhead on the offseason over the weekend. Absolutely bonkers, which we will discuss coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
All right, time to tell you once again about Twice Daily. Remember the rewards program. Big soccer game tonight. You might need some refreshments, some snacks to watch with the family, with the friends. Don't forget about Twice Daily, the rewards program. If you go to get the snacks there, you can unlock those special discounts. You get points. You save money with every visit. So that's the benefit of becoming a member of the Twice Daily Rewards program. There's locations all around town. You know that. Twice Daily is fresh all day. So if you're looking for convenience, Twice Daily has you covered. Remember, keep going back to that well. They've got the pizza. They've got all the snacks. And if you're a member of that rewards program, you're going to get the benefits. You can even enter into sweepstakes and a whole lot more. So check it out. It's Twice Daily, fresh all day.
DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 1025. The Game, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We were discussing a story on paulgaharski.com. Titans FAQ reveals fans won't be able to buy their own stadium seats from the old Nissan Stadium. The Titans will sell seats and memorabilia from Nissan Stadium, but fans won't have the chance to buy the specific seats they occupied for years. So I asked all of you on our phone and text line 615-737-1025, what is something that you would take from the old Nissan Stadium? And at almost exactly the same time, Hair Metal Henry and Keith said the same thing. Hair Metal Henry said, I want the pyro set that fell over during the Indianapolis Colts game that burnt all of us in the end zone to a crisp. Keith said, I want the pyrotechnic machine that caught on fire on the field that one time. That happened, I believe, during the home opener of 2019. Go back and look at the pictures. It's really something.
I was at that game.
And how did you feel in the moment?
I was on the other side of the field, so I didn't feel the heat, but it was already like the hottest day in the history of the world. So it got really hot really fast.
Jeez.
And they lost that game too.
Yes, they did. Steven says, I want the piece of the bench that Perry Phoenix and Deron Jenkins got into a physical altercation over in 2002. Now, for those of us like me who were not watching the Titans in 2002, Derek Mason, what happened?
We were a bad team. I mean, we were bad because we had injuries.
Yes.
And
because it was during the prime era of your Titans. Just one year, everything went wrong, and that was the year. I think it was 2001 season. It might have been January of 2002 because it was like the last game of the year, right?
Yep. And those two got into a fight got into a shoving match because one felt that he was sitting in the seat that he should have been sitting in, the other guy, and it was cold and make room. And then, they get into this, wrestling match or arguing match, so those are things that when it happens during the game, we look back, but then we look back at the field like, what they doing?
What were they doing? Yeah.
And then you look on the field because it's like, man, there's so much stuff. It's the crazy part about it is there's so much stuff that happens on the sideline. And it's only 50-something players, but the rest is coach. But there's so much stuff going on. You may not know what goes on, 10 people away from you because there's so much you got to be in tune with what you're doing. You're listening to the coach or you got to make sure you run back on the field.
Did you witness this happen?
No, I heard about it, but I didn't witness it happening. So it's like it happened
in
right
theory,
behind
you
me.
could have been on the field, right?
Yeah, I'm probably more than likely I was on the field.
That's true.
So. But it's a lot of stuff that goes on that sideline.
That was a big story at the time.
Jackson says, as a day one season ticket holder, I am severely disappointed they aren't giving us our seats. Complete BS. And a slap in the face.
It's just an easy opportunity for a nice gesture for the most loyal fans who got the stadium built. I have another nominee for.
Yes, please.
Did anybody retrieve Vince Young's shoulder pads that he threw into the stands when he had a temper tantrum at the end of the game?
Didn't they go up in the stands and get him? If I
can't remember.
Somebody telling me that. I wasn't on the team, obviously, but I think I recall somebody saying they had to go up in the stands and get his pads.
Now, I would like to find. I don't know if this is a specific seat that is going to be sold, but I would like to buy the seat that I probably dented with a golf ball. That one time Top Golf came to Nissan Stadium before there was an actual Top Golf here in Nissan Stadium. Top Golf did an event at Nissan Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, when there was Top Golf in Nashville.
Okay.
Which
over is basically right down the street.
Yes. Right. So before, let me rephrase all of that. Before there was a Top Golf in Nashville, Top Golf did an event at Nissan Stadium where you could hit balls off of, the top of the concourse on one end zone. And I took part in it with a couple of friends, and I am terrible at golf, and I definitely shanked all of my shots. So there are probably golf ball size dents in multiple seats. So if one of those seats is for sale, I'll take it.
I mean, that's been done many places. Usually, though, it's like a Mark McGwire home run that dents one of the seats because it was like a Titanic home run. Yours is just like a shanked golf ball.
Yes.
Same principle.
Yeah, more or less. Me, Mark McGuire, same thing. One texter says, I want one of the TV monitors at the concession stand outside section 139. I've spent almost as much time watching the games from those than the field while waiting to get a simple Diet Coke.
Now that one you got to pay for, okay? You got to pay for that one. You got to give a
Those
donation for
TVs
that
are probably so old.
Oh my gosh, they're the same. They are from 1999
with the heavy backs.
The heavy backs.
Some of you probably don't remember that TVs once had
Had big booties.
This would be really heavy. Yeah,
television had big booties.
They weren't
that's
all. Yeah, that's right. They weren't all flat
Sir
screens.
Mix-a-Lot like those TVs.
Exactly, absolutely.
Yes. One texter says, "I'll take the jumbotron." Good
Oh
luck.
my goodness. Good luck with that one.
Can't quite get that in the trunk of your car.
Good
That
luck.
was a great line about the lines, though. I do remember spending all of halftime in the line in the upper deck more than once.
One texter, I lost it. I'll find it. Either way,
Okay, would they? Because I know people said, "Well, I would like some of the field." You know, if you're talking about the people that were, here day one, it was grass. Now it's turf. So
Yeah, so you're not getting
you're not getting
the
that.
vintage.
Yeah, you're not getting what it was in those years.
I did find the text. One texter says they won't, but they should totally have markings for the Music City Miracle, like they have in the random parking lot for Hank Aaron's home run, where Fulton County Stadium.
They
used to
should.
be.
Yes,
That should. That would be nice. That would be nice.
but you bring up a good point. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same
but,
field.
I mean, in spirit,
Yes.
it's the same spot. It's just not the same.
One
material.
texter says some red metal tubing from the light structures would be cool. I mean, everything must go,
Yes.
literally. Otherwise,
615-737-1025. We're helping the Titans here.
yes, everything must go. Otherwise, it will be literally destroyed. So we'll continue to take your reaction on that. I do want to take a few moments to talk about a massive offer sheet that we saw over the weekend in the NHL. The Philadelphia Flyers, clearly going through offer sheet withdrawal a few days after Shea Weber's contract expired, dropped a 5-year, $18 million per year offer sheet on Anaheim Ducks center Leo Carlsson. By the way, regardless of what happens, whether the Anaheim Ducks match the offer sheet, which, by the way, they absolutely have to.
They got to,
They
right?
absolutely have to. Whether Carlson accepts the offer sheet from the, well, he already did, but either whether the Ducks match it or he goes off to Philly, he is going to be the highest paid player in the NHL next season. Connor McDavid makes $12.5 million per year. Leo Carlsson, regardless of whether he plays for the Ducks or the Flyers, will be making $18 million per year. The Ducks, by the way, have until Friday to match. You get a week from the announcement. So it happened on Friday. The Ducks have until Friday. But this changes everything in the NHL, Willie. This is massive. And it's going to have a ripple effect on other young players.
And their general manager, Pat Verbeek, who's done a very good job. He was a great player for a long time. And he's been slowly, meticulously building the Anaheim roster, a very long rebuild that has been fairly well done to this point, but it took a while. They're just now scratching the surface. They won a playoff series. They played well in the second round, and the future looked bright. And then this happens. But most people think that he failed to see this coming, but it's the atmosphere. The market was changing overnight. We've been talking about the ripple effect of the salary cap spiking, how contracts signed in the old system all of a sudden look very good. Not quite as burdensome as they did a couple years ago. And as a result, everybody had enough money to keep their best players. There was no free agent help for the most part on free agent day. So where do you go? You go to players like Leo Carlsson, where before in the old system, the team could just say, go ahead. Hey, if they sign him to an offer sheet, that's no big deal. We'll just match it. This one isn't quite as easy as we'll just match it. I think they are going to match it, but it's going to throw their whole salary structure off. And as a result, so many players around the league are going to be affected because Leo Carlsson is a great player for his age. He's 21. He'll turn 22 just after Christmas. And he's probably on his way to being a really, really good player, but he's not Connor McDavid
He
yet.
had 67 points in 70 games last season.
Look, he is silky smooth. He can do it all, but he hasn't done it yet, right? And there's going to be so many people that say, well, if he makes 18, what am I worth? I'm better than him. So this is going to have a big ripple wave throughout the league.
And if you're a team with a young player in a similar situation, the Predators are not one of those teams. And by the way, the Predators did re-sign Maverick Bourque over the weekend. They traded for him last week from Dallas. He signed a 6-year contract with a $5.5 million cap hit. I think that's fair value. Perhaps even more than fair value for
especially based on
Maverick
what
Bourque.
Carlson's about to get.
Yes. So Maverick Bourque under contract. Although the Predators acquired him, he was still under threat for an offer.
He was
sheet.
a restricted free agent, just the same as Carlson.
Until
It
he
just
was
played out a little
signed.
different. Yeah.
Until he was signed, he was prone to an offer sheet. But the Predators got that done. The Predators don't have anybody on the roster right now that would present this specific issue. But if you're San Jose with Macklin Celebrini or Chicago with Connor Bedard, you better send the Brinks trucks right now. Just park outside the house for as long as you have to, because if those teams don't get those contracts done, see, this is what happens when you wait. The Ducks left themselves open to this possibility. Although I expect, I'm sure you expect too, Willie, the Ducks to match this offer sheet, it throws their entire cap situation into disarray.
It has you wondering, who will they have to cough up? Kind of like Dallas had to cough up Maverick Bourque because they were up against the cap. This is going to create problems within their salary structure. There's a lot of speculation about Cutter Gauthier and what he's going to make. They already rushed to re-sign Pavel Mintyukov to avoid an offer sheet with him. They probably paid more than they thought they were going to pay for him. So it's having an effect. And so how does it affect the Predators? What am I going to say, Adam? I've already brought him up to you a couple of times. I brought this up. It's now even more of a thing. Who is a restricted free agent next year? You just got done saying it. Get your business done early.
Luke Evangelista.
Yes. I think he could. Now, Luke Evangelista is not in the same talent level of Leo Carlson, but he's a very good player who is a restricted free agent next year, who is making peanuts right now compared to
$3 million per year.
$3 million per year, which in this new system
is nothing.
Is dirt cheap for a guy who, deservedly has now earned a spot in a top 6. He's not a top line driver, but he's a good second line guy who, if he can do anything close to what he did this past year, I think there would be people looking at offer sheets for him, right? So I think they would be well served to get a deal done with him. Or if they don't, if Chris McFarland is a new guy, he doesn't think the world of Luke Evangelista, he could be used as a trade chip, I suppose, if they don't want to give him a big raise. But what's he worth now? If it's Carlson getting $18 million, Maverick Bourque getting $5.5, where does that put Evangelista if he has, let's just say he has the exact same numbers as last year, 12 goals and whatever, like 50-something points?
Yes. I think he had 57 points, 12 goals, 45 assists,
I'll
44
find out
assists,
exactly.
something
just
along
so
those
we
lines.
have that.
Where does that put him?
Yeah, and do you want to sign him to term, or do you want to go 3-4 years? I mean, I think it's a wide range.
Probably puts him somewhere between the range
56 points, 12 goals, 44 assists, 56 points.
I would have to imagine it probably puts him in the range between 6 and 8
per year.
Yeah.
Easily.
Oh, wow.
It's easy. It's at least that, don't you think? The cap goes up $8 more million next year.
Yes.
People are going to be rolling in the dough.
Yes.
So this is the flag. If you're just a casual fan, you don't follow teams outside the Predators, pay attention to what's going on around the league. This is going to be a thing.
One texter says, to be fair, McDavid took a big pay cut. He's a $20 million player easily. That's true. But think about all of the players. I mean, look, Leo Carlson, let me read to you the highest paid players per year next season in the NHL. Leo Carlson, number 1 at 21 years old, whether it's with the Flyers or the Ducks, $18 million per season. Kirill Kaprizov of Minnesota, $17 million. Leon Draisaitl, $14 million. Jack Eichel, $13.5 million. Austin Matthews, $13.25 million. Nathan McKinnon, $12.6 million. Like, it's a whole new world.
And who's going to sign this year? This summer?
A lot of money out there.
Mr. Cale Makar.
Yes.
He might get 20.
Yes. So keep that in mind. Willie brings up a good point about Luke Evangelista. Although Evangelista is not on the same level as the players we've been discussing, Carlson, Bedard, Celebrini, players who are probably licking their chops right now with what happened with Leo Carlson, Luke Evangelista is in position to ask for a significant pay raise because of the cap situation and how now players seem to have the hammer. Before, teams had the hammer. We've talked about this with all of the trade requests that were out there. Brady Tkachuk and Dylan Larkin, and for a moment, Zach Werenski. The players have the hammer now. So we'll see what happens. But just an absolutely mind-boggling offer sheet. But the Flyers did what you needed to do. You have to put together an offer sheet that makes the other team think, are we sure we want to do this? Because if the Flyers said 5 years, $14 million, Ducks say, psh, no problem. We don't even need to pretend like this is a decision.
According to Elliot Friedman, he reported that they had a Zoom call, and the agent, Derek, you'll love this. The agent knew the offer sheet that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to tell the Ducks that, though.
Why would he?
So he's like, "What's your best offer?" And the Ducks said something like $12.5 million per year, and they're like, "Okay, how about 15 or somewhere in there?"
Mm-hmm.
And the Ducks were like, "No, thanks. We'll wait it out." And then the next phone call they got was, he signed an offer sheet for 18. Whoops.
Oh, they were probably upset.
615-737-1025. Actually, right before we go to break, from friend of the show, Richard Deitch, quote, from the fine folks at Fox Sports PR who are big fans of red cards being rescinded and government intervention, the U.S.-Bosnia game finished out at 26.395 million viewers, now stands as the most watched soccer telecast in English-language U.S. history. Tonight will top it. Peak audience was 34.823 million from 9:45 to 10 p.m. Eastern time.
I said those numbers were like what, NFL numbers?
I think we were trying to find that. Didn't we?
NFL wild card weekend
yes.
numbers.
So tonight could be AFC, NFC championship game kind of number, maybe?
Yeah.
According to Richard Deitch, the U.S.-Bosnia match finished out with 26.395 million viewers on average. We'll see what tonight brings. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on this massive offer sheet in the NHL. Coming up next, we'll hit some odds and ends from the weekend in sports, including some people who attended Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. We'll do that next. 615-737-1025. Willie Dunnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Right before break, our friend Richard Deitch shared that the U.S.-Bosnia match finished out at 26.395 million viewers. Now stands as the most watched soccer telecast in English language U.S. history until tonight, of course. The peak audience was 34.823 million viewers. I looked up ratings for wildcard NFL games this past season as reference. Rams at Panthers, 28 million viewers on average. Packers at Bears, 31.6 million viewers. Bills at Jags, 32.7. 49ers at Eagles, 41. Chargers at Patriots, 28.9. So basically, people are watching the U.S. men's team in the World Cup similarly to how they're watching NFL wildcard weekend, which is not nothing.
It's big.
I think there was a time where you would be hard pressed to have people believe that could happen.
Well,
NFL playoff games.
Yes, I am curious. Let's have fun with this for a moment. So the last match, 26.395 million. What do you think the number will be for tonight?
Ooh, man.
At least 30?
I think at its peak. What was it? What was that at its peak?
The peak was 34.823.
37 at its peak.
Okay, what about on average?
I would about 33.
I'll say like 32. Around 32 million on average. What do you think, Willie?
I think that's about right. I think the peak could hit 40.
Now that would be something.
Yes.
If it's a blowout one way or the other, that could help. But
sure.
One thing you learn when you're watching these games, it's hard to blow somebody out.
Mm-hmm.
And as good as the U.S. has played, or as well as the U.S. has played, or if you're doing soccer, U.S. have. You notice all that that's how they say it in soccer.
Ugh.
Yeah, I can't get used to that, but it's hard to blow somebody out. I would expect this to be a game that you got to watch start to finish because you might not see the big moment. We just watched Spain beat Portugal 1-0. The goal was scored in the 91st or 92nd minute. So there's drama. There is drama. I think it's going to be a great, great sporting event.
Over the weekend, again, a lot happening in the world of sports and sports-adjacent things over the weekend. Multiple outstanding World Cup matches. Yes, Joey Chestnut.
Seriously.
Yes. I said sports-adjacent. He did not have his best stuff. Okay?
Is he still on probation?
I don't know.
Oh.
He was taken off the stage in handcuffs. No, I'm kidding. But he did not have his best stuff. But he still ate 66 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Man, who was in second place? Who came in second?
Who cares?
That person he may be, you know.
The 42-year-old is still on probation, but is allowed to travel outside Indiana.
Okay.
His lawyer has said that what happened in the bar was a misunderstanding.
Of course.
After he just slapped some dude, apparently. He slapped a man at a bar. All right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the wedding of the cinch. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Wedding of the cinch.
The wedding of the cinch. And it was a who's who of people who attended this wedding, including Mike and Jen Vrabel. They went out there together. They were caught by Page Six, of course, entering their black car on the way to the wedding. It was pointed out by so many people that Mike Vrabel did not bother to hold the door for his wife.
It was bad. It was bad.
Come on, Mike.
It was bad.
You missed your chance.
The optics is everything. And they could have been having a great time. I don't know. But the optics of him getting in the car before his wife, not even kind of like stepping to the side. Okay, you can get in, baby. And then you get in. You just didn't even look behind you.
Nope,
I'm
watching the video right now. I'm watching the video right now. Hold on. Let's look.
Gosh,
he's walking. He's walking. His wife is a couple of paces behind him, straight into the car. Doesn't even look back.
Wow.
Doesn't even look back to be
That's
like,
unbelievable.
Doesn't even offer a hand. Here, honey, let me get you in the car. Nope, just straight in the car.
And look, even if you get smacked in the face, you at least offer the hand. Like,
Exactly.
If she turns it down or even reacts like "get away from me," you've done your job. You've done what you can.
You just said, "Damn that."
He just said, "I'm going in."
I'm going in.
I'm surprised.
I'm not going to make sure they don't close they keep the door open for you.
It might start raining any second. I'm going in.
Although it looked like it was a beautiful day in New York City, not a cloud in the sky in this clip. Like I'm almost surprised that the offices of Page 6 did not spontaneously combust at the idea of Mike Vrabel going to Taylor Swift's wedding. Those two events converging. Mike Vrabel, who's been the Page 6 tabloid fodder for months, and the wedding of the Cinch together. I'm surprised there wasn't a small explosion somewhere in the Page 6
I didn't
offices.
realize that they were. I guess did they ever play together? He and Kelsey.
I was trying to figure this out. It's not obvious to me. He played for the Chiefs, but he didn't play when Kelsey was playing, right?
I don't. Yeah.
It was at the end of his career.
He may have played with them. Kelsey's first couple of years.
It was Kelsey, a young rookie, and Vrabel was still playing. We're gonna have to do some research on this.
To research that.
But you know,
I mean,
Travis,
I didn't get the invite.
It's not like every teammate of his was invited.
I don't
to the
know.
wedding. How did he get on the list?
Don't ask me.
I'm just curious.
Don't ask me. Adam
Bro, do me a
Sandler.
solid.
Adam
Do me a salad. Solid.
Yeah.
I've been in the doghouse, man. Do me a solid, Travis. Can I come?
Adam Sandler officiated the wedding, which was a choice. But look, if you're Jen Vrabel, to quote Taylor Swift, we are never, ever getting back together after I score an invite to the wedding of the century. Jen Vrabel's version. Like, if you're Jen Vrabel in all of this, you probably I don't know when the wedding invitations came out. Probably in the midst of all of the stuff happening with Mike Vrabel and Diana Brusini. But if you're Jen Vrabel and you're like, I just have to stick through this until I get an invite to that wedding. I'm going to go to that wedding and then I can leave. So
I think the invite was sent
they
prior
were
to that.
They were not teammates on Kansas City.
Okay.
Vrabel and
So I would tend to believe that was sent prior to all this stuff coming out.
right. So if you're Jen Vrabel, are you trying to miss out on going to the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift wedding? No, you're going to suck it up until the wedding. I'm being slightly facetious here.
Tongue in cheek.
One texter says, I think he went in first to sit in the way back to prevent her from having to climb back there. Sure, Jan.
There you go. Make an excuse for the man. No, the optics are horrible.
One texter says, the vibes aren't vibing for the Vrabels. A lot of alliteration there.
But I am glad they were there together. That I am. However.
Love is love.
Yeah.
Love
is
love.
To go there together.
But like,
I've been in that before.
But like if you're Mike Vrabel and you, again, your personal life has been tabloid fodder for months. You're going to the biggest wedding in God knows how long, and you're probably going to be photographed at some point. Don't you make an extra effort to be even more chivalrous? Hold your wife's hand, let her in the car first, give her a smooch, ham it up, Otherwise,
you can't go too far and make it too obvious, but
you
got to be aware.
Yeah, you can't stand by because the door was already open. You could have stood next to the door and let your wife go in. No matter, listen, we all been in there where our significant other wife has been upset with us, and we've been out somewhere and we just had to put on the face like, I'm opening up the door still. I'm still gonna let you walk through. I'm still gonna do this. He was just like, damn that. I'm just going in. I'm just going in.
I hope they had a great time.
Oh man.
I haven't read too much about it. I have to imagine it was such a strange mix of people. All of these people from the entertainment world, all of Travis Kelce's teammates, past and present.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to imagine just the group of people in that. Well, it wasn't a room. It was a friggin' arena. It was Madison Square Garden, for goodness sake. It must have been a strange collection of people being in the room in the same room at the same time. But
I'm curious
Sure
the
was.
layout. How did they lay out the arena? They have all kinds of events there, the circus and the Knicks and the Rangers and all of that.
Did they have the basketball court down? You
Well,
think they had it down? Or
I don't
did they
know.
take it up,
That's an
you know?
option, I guess.
mean,
It's up to the couple.
And
I
what
guess.
voice did Adam Sandler officiate in?
Oh, that's a good
Was he
question.
Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore?
I'm going to say Happy Gilmore because
Bobby Boucher.
Travis Kelce.
I would have loved Bobby Boucher.
He's a football player.
Travis
Yes.
Kelce was in the latest was it Happy Gilmore that came out on Netflix last year, whatever. He made a cameo in that movie, so perhaps that's where that came from. But I saw Mike and Jen Vrabel. Hey, good for them. Mike, hold the damn door for your wife. She deserves at least that.
The craziest thing would have been if Diana Rossini got invited.
Unbeknownst to the Vrabels, you mean?
Exactly.
And you can see like the wedding coordinator. You're picturing.
Oh my goodness.
All right, do we put Diana at table 12?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, picture the wedding coordinator, whoever it is, from your favorite movie. Martin Short was one famously.
Yes.
Father of the Bride. But like, okay, table 12 is over on this end, section 110.
So
Make
Sabrina,
sure
she's going to sit next to you.
Oh, boy.
man.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, I'm wondering if the excitement around the World Cup has changed anybody's stance on something else we've been talking a lot about over the past several months. We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and Connor Newt here with you on your drive home. Just a couple of hours away from the U.S. men's national team's next match in the World Cup round of 16 against Belgium. Of course, the story in sports across the world. American striker Flo Balogun will play despite being shown a red card last week. And we discussed that in great detail earlier in the program. But I do want to talk about the World Cup from a different perspective. One of the matches we saw over the weekend, we were almost treated to an historic World Cup upset. Cape Verde, the little engine that could, nearly toppled Lionel Messi and Argentina. It was fabulous, a fabulous match. And in response to that match, I saw a lot of people say something along the lines of, there are people in charge of college sports who don't want things like Cape Verde to happen. And some of you may not know this. I learned this right before the World Cup started this year. The World Cup expanded this tournament from 32 teams to 48 teams. So there has been a lot of discussion on social media about the expanded World Cup and how exciting the games have been, and whether that should tell us something about the potential of an expanded college football playoff, and we know an expanded NCAA men's basketball tournament, because that is indeed expanding. We still haven't figured out if and when college football playoff is going to expand. But here's my question to kick off this hour at 615-737-1025. Does the excitement of the expanded World Cup change anybody's stance on an expanded college football playoff or NCAA tournament? Willie, why don't you take the first crack at answering that question?
I read the article. It's a nice attempt to, I think, bring in some good thought. And he goes into a lot of the detail on what's good and what's not so good.
This is Chris Vanini at The Athletic, by the way.
But at the end, he didn't sway me much. I'm not enough of a soccer nut. I have watched the last however many World Cups. I really enjoy the World Cup. And it has been brought up by a lot of coaches. Is it really a good thing to have 48 and not 32? And so what I don't know enough about is, do the extra games, the extra round, will it have an effect on the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals? And that's where I really think the biggest problem with the football expansion is that it's going to become, if it goes to 24, the whole season, and especially the tournament, is going to become much more of a war of attrition and not who the best team is. So that's one thing that I thought of, is the journey's too long. And I'll use baseball as an example. A lot of people like the extra tiers of playoffs. I don't. And it takes its toll. It's so hard to keep pitchers healthy and players healthy. The Dodgers, for example, have won a lot of playoff games and regular season games with completely different people. Like they have a lot of different pitchers that they know aren't going to be available for the whole season. Tyler Glasnow is one. Blake Snell is one. But the Dodgers are good enough to get there with a certain group of players and depth, and then they'll have those guys when the games are the biggest. But it's hard for a pitcher to go from start to finish with the extra playoff rounds year after year and accumulate all those extra innings. And I really worry about that in football, where keeping your quarterback and your offensive line and your key defensive players, there's just going to be a lot of key injuries when you've got to win at least 4 games to win the championship. Football is not a tournament sport. And so that's one reason why I just will never think that 24 is the right number.
I just don't think you're comparing, apples to apples here. I'm in agreement with Willie. I think the war of attrition, first and foremost, should be thought about. You're asking these individuals to play more games. It's more physical than soccer is. So whereas they probably, and they have played an extra game, and then you could set it up such as, you're not playing the team that you're playing isn't the team that anyone expects you to lose to. And then also, what FIFA has that college football wouldn't have is even though you can lose in the world tournament and still advance in FIFA. You can't do that. How are you if you're trying to get the model the same as FIFA, how do you sort of
you can't
call for that?
You can't have pool play in college
exactly.
football.
Yeah, you there's a lot of things that it works for FIFA in the world games that it definitely wouldn't work for football. And I think the main thing is just the physicality of the sport. And again, nobody wants to see, teams that didn't get in this year that were 8-4 or didn't play, didn't have anybody on their schedule. Their strength of schedule was horrible. Nobody wants to see those teams, regardless of what their record is. Nobody wants to see those teams in the playoffs, because what happens is those teams end up getting blown out.
In this article that Willy referenced from Chris Vanini of The Athletic, where he breaks down the pros and cons about an expanded World Cup and what it could teach us about an expanded college football playoff, there are a couple of points he made against the idea of expansion that I agree with, and I will read one now. Average play is rewarded. 11 teams advance to the knockout stage of the World Cup by earning just 4 of a possible 9 points in group stage play, compared to only 3 such teams in the smaller field in 2022. That's because 7 teams advanced with third-place group finishes. Senegal also advanced with 3 points as a third-place team. Cape Verde had 3 points from 3 draws, but finished second in its group. In college football last year, an 8-4 Iowa team that had no notable wins would have qualified for a 2014 playoff. Tennessee would have been in the mix late at 8-3, despite not beating a team with a winning record. There are teams with seemingly no shot of winning the national title that also may not view making a 2014 playoff as a major accomplishment. And this, again, has always been one of my major issues with the idea of expanding any tournament field. You're just going to get more average in there. And in the case of the college football playoff or the NCAA tournament, more specifically the college football playoff, you're not going to get the football equivalent of Cape Verde. You're going to get a mediocre SEC team or Big Ten team. You're not going to get the scrappy underdog, right? Like Cape Verde was in this situation with Argentina. You're just going to be filling the other spots with just more mediocrity. And that's why I'm more of a small playoff guy in general. When you expand the field, you invite more mediocrity into the proceedings.
I agree. And it also is going to change the drama of the regular season in college football, which is what everybody forever has said is the best thing about college football. Instead of, I remember it was the first year of 102.5 The Game, 2011. LSU played Alabama, and they ended up playing in the championship game. They had a rematch, but it was a huge game between, I think, 2 undefeateds. It was Nick Saban. It was 2 loaded rosters, and there was so much buildup. And as it turned out, they both ended up making the playoffs. But so maybe it's not the best example, but those types of games where you feel like there are huge implications, that game would have been a nice game now in the current system, where it's like, hey, they might meet again in the playoffs, but whoever wins this game, it's not a big deal. It's going to be more for seeding, but they're probably going to get home field advantage, and then we'll see what happens in the tournament. So it wouldn't have nearly the build-up and the spotlight. Now there's going to be more emphasis on games like Iowa versus Wisconsin, or maybe it's Mississippi State versus Vanderbilt or something. And it's not going to nearly have the audience nationally. It'll be big games for those schools for sure, but it's not going to be the same. And there will be teams that I think will sit players in key games because they know they're going to be in the playoffs because of the attrition factor. So there's just a lot of things that I'm not sure they're thinking about when they're thinking about going to 24.
You have some of these rivals, because the article talked about those games at the end of the season, whether it's Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Auburn. If you're opening up the field to 24, what incentive do I have Because the ultimate goal is to win a national championship. Now, that's the ultimate goal. Why would I even play my players in that game if I know I'm already in?
The U.S. men's national team didn't play any of its top players, right, in the final group stage game against Turkey A, right?
No. Yeah,
Correct.
you're right. But that's not what college football
they
wants to
rested
see.
some guys, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to see these two historic games that have been going on forever. All of a sudden now they are marginalized or they minimized to just being a regular game now because, both of y'all are already in the playoffs. All right, forget it.
The other thing too, and it's also mentioned in this story by Chris Vanini at The Athletic, is that soccer is a lower scoring sport, which allows for more variance. That's why Cape Verde can play with Argentina. We saw what happened when Tulane and James Madison played in the college football playoff. It was a bloodbath, and no disrespect, of course, to the Green Wave and the Dukes. But that was the major issue with college football playoff expansion in general. Connor, you brought up a good point when we were discussing this over the weekend, that you can make more of an argument for this when it comes to the NCAA tournament because basketball is more of a matchup sport than football. So, I mean, look, you saw it in the first round. I did not enjoy watching this game, but you saw Siena almost knock off Duke as a 16 seed. There was just something about the way that Siena was playing that did not mesh well with Duke. Duke ultimately prevailed, but it was very tough. You can see that more in basketball. It's hard to see that in football.
Yeah, it is, because football is just, you can tell top to bottom which team is more talented than the other team. You made a perfect example of Oregon versus James Madison. James Madison, once Oregon pulled all their starters near the end of the fourth quarter, they started to climb back in it, but from top to bottom, it was a blowout. So basketball is more of a comparable sport to soccer because of the matchup and overall because of the game flow. It's more of a fast-paced, back-and-forth kind of sport, whereas in football, you have the time to make adjustments on the fly in the huddle. You have time to stack up plays that expose the weaknesses of the defense or the offense or what have you. So I just don't think that football and soccer are very comparable when it comes to this because of just how different of games that they are from each other.
And it doesn't mean there would never be upsets in the college football playoff, but it's just less likely, especially in the first round, that you could have a Cinderella type of upset at that stage of the season, unless there were big injuries involved. So it would happen occasionally, but just not like it does in soccer, where there are ways to hang in the game. There's less scores, right? You can defend and counter. There's ways for the underdog to be alive and give yourself a chance. In baseball, if you have a great pitcher pitching great that day, that's a great equalizer. A goalie in hockey is a great equalizer. Football, it's harder to do that because there's so much manpower involved. Do you agree, Derek?
Yeah, when you think about, some of upsets, which sport is more prone to upsets if you're talking about, if we put it in a format like the World Cup? I would tend to believe football would be probably at the bottom. You get it during the season. Yeah, typically in the first couple of weeks, you would get an upset here and there, and that happens. But if you're talking about once we get into the season, assuming my team is healthy and your team is healthy, there's no way I'm picking a Alabama over James Madison every time. Now, in basketball or soccer, Alabama and a James Madison, there's a little bit more of they may just beat Alabama. But you wouldn't think that in football. You think it in baseball. I mean, you think it in basketball. You think it in soccer. But why wouldn't you think that in football?
The other thing, too, Willie, is the World Cup has qualifying. So it's not like, again, when we talk about the expansion of the college football playoff, we know where those teams are coming from. There are going to be more SEC teams and more Big Ten teams. It's not like the team, there's a ranking, of course, but it's different. The spots in the World Cup are shared. You've got to qualify. I feel like that's a little bit different too. And it should be said, for as scrappy as Cape Verde was during the World Cup, they never won a game. I think they drew their first 3 games and
they tied. Yeah.
So
for those not, Drew, like that's a
Sorry.
soccer term. So just to clarify, you're right.
yes.
So they were hanging around, they battled. It was a great story. But it's not like they pulled 5 upsets. And Vanini makes this point too. The World Cup is every 4 years. So you still have to earn your way in, and the whole world is sending teams to get to 48. That's not quite the same as college football that's doing it every year. And it's going to be a lot of the usual suspects each time, right?
I would tend to believe after the first round, because if you do a 24 team, you expect the top 4 would have a bye somewhere around there. So the upset would come with 8. It's sort of like 18 versus 10. Maybe there's a upset in there, but the further you get along after the first round, I think all of that kind of goes away, because now they're playing the upper echelon of teams in college football after that.
615-737-1025. Does the excitement of the expanded World Cup change anybody's stance on an expanded college football playoff or NCAA basketball tournament? For me, there are just too many important differences between the sports for me to feel like if you expand the college football playoff, you're going to get the excitement that you've had so far in this World Cup. But how do you feel? 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction and once again look ahead to tonight's game between the U.S. men's national team and Belgium. Is this a legacy game for the USMNT? We'll discuss that coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
If this wasn't the host nation, this would not be happening. Messi should have been sent off in match day 1. He wasn't, because it's Lionel Messi. Cristiano Ronaldo was given a 3-game ban before the tournament started, and 2 of those games were put on probation. Guess what? So he could play at a World Cup. It's a popularity contest for Gianni Infantino. If this wasn't the US men's national team, this player would be suspended. You cannot just make the rules up, Herc, as you go along. How many players have missed World Cup finals, semi-finals, quarterfinals with suspensions? What FIFA are saying now is, we'll decide when a player is red carded whether he can play in the next game or not. We are not going to go by the laws of the game. We're just going to let you know whether he can play or not. It's embarrassing.
That was ESPN soccer commentator Craig Burley. Can you tell he's Scottish?
Tottenham.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Craig Burley not too happy about FIFA's decision to let Flo Balogun play tonight, but it's going to happen. Flo Balogun is playing tonight. Belgium tried to appeal, and we're told, nah. So Balogun is going to play. And look, I'm going to go home. I'm going to have some dinner. I'm going to turn on the game or match.
What time is it? 6 Central?
Or 7 Central.
7 Central.
Okay, cool.
So you'll get home just in time.
Which means 7. It's unlike a lot of sporting events that we're accustomed to where they say, it starts at 7, but it's more like 7:05 or 7:08. It will start right at 7. So if you want to see, which I think one of the things I think is a cool thing to watch are the national anthems before. So you got to tune in like 10 minutes before the actual kickoff to see that. And it will get the goosebumps going. Everybody's singing. I would recommend that. So tune in a little bit early to get the ambiance.
So what are you expecting the atmosphere to be like? The game is in Seattle. It would be interesting if this game were not being played on American soil, of course.
Did you ever play in that stadium, Derek?
Yeah, played in there once. It's a loud stadium. Beautiful stadium.
Lumen Field.
Takes a minute to sort of get used to. But it's loud in there. Extremely.
I mean, it really sounds great. I've never been to a game there.
It's a beautiful stadium.
And they have a great soccer following for their MLS team that plays against Nashville SC. Nashville SC's been out there a number of times. So that's kind of why they got this game. So I think the atmosphere is going to be great.
Oh, of course it's going to be great. I wonder how the U.S. team is going to come out. And this is also what I wonder about, because it was one of the suspensions. It might have been Ronaldo or someone got suspended, and they said, well, he was instigated. It was instigation. And so we decided to rescind the red card because we felt that the other guy instigated, and he was that's what they made up, the FIFA. That's why I think it might have been Messi some years ago. So I wonder, one, how the U.S. team is going to come out. Are they going to be aggressive? And then 2, will Belgium try to instigate something? Pushing and pulling and doing a little extra things just to see if they can get that red card.
I don't know.
I think that'll be something to watch. And if
because he's skating on thin ice, right? Basically, he's on probation.
And everybody in the world knows the deal.
Exactly.
So the first confrontation that he's involved in, what's the ref do? And the ref is always such an important figure in all of these games. You got to make all these tough calls. Is it a yellow? Is it a red? Is it no foul at all? Is it a penalty kick? That's part of the show, right? And I think with all that said, they have advanced the VAR, the video review system and all of that. I'm really curious about this as well with all this drama in the background. And that's, in watching the game unfold with Balogun at the center. If the game's close late, these guys are human. So this is just something I think the layers to the story. And when you hear these former players talk, what they're upset about too, is when they made this call, Adam, when they quote suspended the red card, they didn't go through an explanation and say, we looked at the video and we talked to the referee who made the call to begin with. We talked him through the process. We got his feedback, and we determined after talking to everybody, the video review judges and all that stuff, that it just shouldn't have been a red card. Yeah, had they done that, I think you'd feel a little bit better about the process, but they didn't do anything like that. They just issued a statement with a lot of word salad stuff and said, we're suspending the red card. Deal with it. And then we find out later how the process was going on.
Yes.
Why wouldn't the rest of the world be upset?
And I'm wondering if this is an appropriate comparison to how you're wondering if Balogun will play tonight, knowing that he is on probation and he's going to be watched very, very closely. It's like a basketball player in a big game, in a college game, with 4 fouls. Like, how is that going to change the way Balogun plays? Will it change the way Balogun plays? Will he think twice about attempting to make a play because of the heightened scrutiny on him because of everything that happened?
I think it has to go through your mind as a player, because the last thing you want is for, to put yourself in a position where it's up to the ref to make a call whether to give you a red flag or not. You still want to be aggressive and you still want to play with that sort of edge. But man, when it's something like this, I'm wondering, because the stakes are so high, does that alter how the coach positions everyone, or does that alter how Balogun plays, especially toward the end of the game?
One texter says, did they order the code red?
They probably did.
Well, you know what happens sometimes in hockey, Adam, you've seen this. And I don't know that this would happen in a soccer game, but a tactic in hockey sometimes is you instigate or you try to goad a key player who might have the willingness to fight. You try to get him into a fight. So he sits out for 5 minutes. And you exchange your goon, for 5 minutes. And the top guy, like when Shea Weber would fight when he was playing for the Predators, it was a rare thing because they didn't want Shea Weber sitting out. But Shea Weber was a tough guy who could fight if needed. And that could happen sometimes. I wonder if somebody will, intentionally really, mix it up with Balogun. And you risk, I guess, fouling him in the box or something like that. But if there's areas on the field where there's going to be one-on-one battles and you can draw him into a yellow card or a red card, I wonder if that's even discussed from Belgium.
Matt
This
says,
is just me as from a distance casual person that doesn't know about soccer.
Matt says, I read an article on Reuters that President Trump called the FIFA president before this decision was made. Can you guys verify? Yes.
The source is the president.
Yes, he
I
said
came out and said, I did it. I called him.
It was me.
He said, I didn't make him make the decision. I just called him.
I will read some from the New York Times. President Trump on Monday defended his decision to request that FIFA review a ban issued to a star player on the U.S. men's soccer team, saying he was motivated to make the extraordinary intervention because he felt that a quote-unquote suspect referee made a bad call. Mr. Trump called Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, in the hours after the United States men's soccer team played Wednesday and asked him to review the suspension of the team's top goal scorer in the World Cup, Folarin Balogun, after he was given a red card. On Sunday, FIFA reversed the decision, a remarkable development that has roiled the soccer world and brought renewed scrutiny to the close relationship between Mr. Trump and Mr. Infantino. Quote, I didn't tell him what to do. I can't tell him what to do. And I don't believe he made the decision. I think it was a committee that made the decision. And they made the right decision because, number one, it wasn't a foul, and you want to see a game with your best players.
And didn't he at some point say,
you can't refuse.
He said, and I quote, I didn't know what the hell a red card was. When I found that, I said, you've got to be kidding.
Didn't he say at some point too? What's the first name of the guy from FIFA again?
Gianni Infantino.
Didn't he at some point say, I've known Gianni for like 8 years or something? I mean, who knew? I didn't know that he knew that they go way back. I go way back with Gianni.
He's friends with
everyone. Make you an offer you can't refuse.
Okay. I feel like he said that at some point, that he's known him for like
I'll have to find it. Again, this decision, the first time since 1962 when the rules were less clear that FIFA has overturned an in-tournament World Cup game suspension threatens to taint a surprising run by the U.S. team in the year when Americans have embraced their hosting of the tournament.
That's like the head coach calling me and camp is voluntary. And he called me, "Hey, Mace, why you ain't here?" Just voluntary. Yeah, it is voluntary, but you know, man.
Goodbye.
Hey, with I just talk to you later. I need to get myself and go.
Tell DMase
said, "Hey, camp is today."
I've seen people suggest that the sportsmanlike thing to do would be for Balogun to refuse to play, own the red card, and not play.
You can't put that on Balogun. You can't do that. No,
or the coach.
Exactly, you can't do that.
Like, tell me what the coach is supposed to do if he does that and doesn't play. I mean, this guy's from Argentina. First of all, if he doesn't play Balogun,
he's going to be hated.
Well, yeah,
he might as well just leave the country. If he sit Balogun and they lose, he might as well just leave.
He
and don't ever come back.
He can't really win either way, but that would be, for him, that would be a terrible scenario.
And you said this earlier, Willie, and I agree with you. Had Balogun really committed a red card offense and all of this happened, and
it was so obvious.
It was so obvious, and he didn't play or he subbed, that would be one thing. But because of the questionable nature of the initial call, I say, go for it. Play.
Yeah. And you can do the Alexi Lawless. You got a problem? Go to FIFA. It's not
take it up with them.
Yeah, take it up with them. They're the ones that have no system. They have their history, which is well documented. It's, who knows who makes the rules. There's all kinds of stuff like that. I can think of, and Chase McCabe's not here. He could probably come up with way more examples, but NASCAR has that kind of thing. The leadership of NASCAR, they kind of make the rules as they go. Who knows what the process is sometimes. FIFA's got that. And so you can blame it on that. It's not really their fault. It's not really the team's fault. It doesn't have to be about Balogun. That's what I really hope, is that Balogun can put all of this aside and play a good game.
Here's an interesting story from The Athletic. For every game of the World Cup, the United States men's national team has created near-record betting action, which has forced odd makers to scramble. The next match figures to have the highest handle, but it also involved a wild twist 24 hours before kickoff that forced sportsbooks to adjust even further. Flo Balogun, the Americans' leading scorer, is now eligible and expected to start against Belgium in the round of 16 on Monday, despite receiving a red card in their previous game. DraftKings sportsbook director Johnny Avalo said, quote, "He's worth about 15 to 20 cents. It's difficult on the statistics side, but he's a key component. You want your team at full strength. There are others who can take his place, but it's important, as threatening as he is." As soon as the breaking news hit social media, prediction market Kalshi moved from exactly 50% for the U.S. to advance to 52.9%, which is the equivalent of shifting from plus 100 to minus 112 on the money line. So for you gamblers out there, Caesar Sportsbook reflected a similar adjustment, moving the USMNT from minus 108 to minus 120.
So there is a slight change in the odds based on Balogun being in,
but not
humongous.
Yes.
Fair?
Yes. Based on my limited knowledge of gambling.
Mine is just as limited.
So it was basically even?
Yes.
Yeah. Scales have been tilted.
615-737-1025. This is an interesting question. We'll talk about this on the other side. 615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the show next. Willie, Donick, Derek, Mason, Adam Bingen, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingan and Donick 1025. The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you, wrapping up today's program. Right before we went to break, I saw an interesting post from someone named Adam Grant, an organizational psychologist at the Wharton School.
Oh.
So, smart dude.
Mhm.
Smart guy. Thank you for you tab on X. I don't follow Adam Grant, but he popped into my timeline. And he had this post that has gone a bit viral. And I'm curious for y'all's opinion on this. The definition of a true fan, he says, you'd rather see your team lose fairly than win unfairly. Do you agree?
I agree.
You'd rather see your team lose fairly than win unfairly.
Yeah. But this situation, as we talked about, this situation is sort
more
of
in the
different.
gray.
Yeah,
It's more in the gray.
But
generally,
yeah.
I agree with that. But this is the gray.
Exactly.
Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree with it. It's he didn't deserve the red card anyway. It was a bogus call or giving him the red card. But they have their rules so ironclad that no one even ever thought about petitioning, or maybe they did, but it never got to a point where they actually rescinded the red card. But it's changed in this situation. But outside of this situation, I would rather lose fairly than win unfairly.
I think because most objective people think it should never have been a red card. That's what has me leaning to I'm ignoring the Wharton guy for this. I can live with Balogun playing in this game because of that. But generally speaking, I do have a little bit of guilt because of it, because the rest of the world is saying, hey, our nation, whoever it may be, some fan in France is saying, remember the World Cup in 1998 or 2002 where our guy got thrown out and he got a red card. He didn't get to come back. So why should Balogun get back? Because it's always been like that. So why are they changing? Why are they getting special treatment now for the U.S.? That's the question they're asking. It's a fair question.
And I'm sure there have been red cards given out that were rather questionable at the time.
My gosh,
So,
they're filled with them, right?
Yeah. So every one of them wasn't just cut, black and white. Oh, that's definitely a red card. I'm sure there were some in that gray area.
You'd rather see your team lose fairly than win unfairly.
I
How
think
would
as
you
soon as
answer
they
that,
drop
Adam?
that ball, I think they dropped that ball tonight. It's game on. If Belgium loses and they call that out after the game, then they're a bunch of whiners. Give them the cheese with the wine, because they protested properly, no problem with the protest. But now that the decision's been made, go play, and if you win, great, salute it. If you lose, shake hands.
One texter says, you guys do realize that this is not the only perceived political interference incident of the World Cup, right? The British government intervened when it was proposed to move up the England-Mexico game yesterday and were successful in keeping the original start time.
I heard a little bit about that yesterday in the pregame coverage, and of course the weather moved it back. But was it supposed to be an afternoon game? Is that right?
I don't know all of the details. Give me a moment.
I think if I got this right, it wasn't an in-depth discussion. I think it was supposed to be, for TV purposes, because the game was on at like 2:00 in the morning by the time it started, because the weather made it even back. Last night when that game ended, they were showing shots in England, all these crazy people at the pubs. It's like 4:00 in the morning. So I think they wanted the game earlier. So I don't know what the details were.
Yeah, I don't want to make people listen to me Google search.
You know what we need to do, Connor? We need to work on, like Dave Letterman used to way back in the day. He would have Paul Schaefer have a little music, like we needed to turn pages and look something up. We need Adam typing music.
Yes,
musical interlude when he looks
like
something
Jeopardy
up.
or something like that.
Well, not Jeopardy. We need to come up with our own theme song of it, just like a nice, relaxing
one moment
elevator music.
Yes. We'll come up.
Well,
with
Adam
something.
looks up. He's usually pretty quick.
Yes.
This is one of your longer lookups.
Let your fingers do the
well,
talking.
I paused to look up. I'll get to it.
Okay.
What Chase from White Bluff says, as a competitor, you should want to beat the best form of a team. One texter says, look, yes, you want to win fairly in business or ethical situation, but it's the World Cup. They didn't do anything wrong. It's outside factors. Go and get it.
If I'm arguing with a Belgian fan,
yeah,
I would just keep going back to the same point. Did I decide to
exactly?
Should he have had a red card? That's your guy. Was that a red card? Was it a red card?
And they would probably
Yes or no?
say, no, it wasn't. But
Right,
then
right.
you would say, well, okay, take it up with FIFA. Then.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
I think we win the argument.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on. All right, I have found
What
it.
about this? What about Trump? Should have been a red card?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Okay, hold on. So I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Is it Keir Starmer? He's the British Prime Minister. This, according to Politico. Keir Starmer wants to bring football home before he leaves number 10 Downing Street. The British Prime Minister intervened to help stop FIFA from rescheduling England's football match in Mexico City by several hours, keeping this kickoff set for 1 a.m. Monday morning UK time. FIFA had considered starting the game at 7 p.m. Sunday UK time, friendlier for British viewers, but tougher on English players acclimatizing to Mexico City's grueling high elevation.
Okay. And so the Azteca Stadium is like 7,000 feet. It's even higher than Mile High Stadium in Denver, which you always hear anytime the Broncos are playing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you gotta the altitude, the altitude.
Acclimated to the weather.
This is
to
even
the
higher.
altitude. Yes.
So, and I don't understand all the physics of if you start the game at night, but they talked about it a lot. There was a lot of time to kill. I thought they did a really good job on Fox with the coverage. They had to fill about an hour because of the rain delay, but they were getting into the nuances of the altitude. And some of the people, and to their credit, a lot of former English players who they had on the panel, they were like, I don't want to hear any excuses. Go out and play. It's the same for both teams. But needless to say, the Mexico players, they've had a great record in that stadium, and the altitude is a factor in that. I didn't know that there was a difference between playing in the afternoon and playing at night, though. I couldn't tell you why that is. Maybe I should have paid more attention in science class.
See, there is more diplomatic intervention going on.
Yes.
So
the prime minister.
Everybody's getting into the action.
Well, they're doing it. Like my son. Well, he's doing it. Also, I do want to give quickly a shout out to my son, Arlo, who did something. There was like a rite of passage this weekend for my son on July 4th weekend. He jumped off the diving board for the very first time.
And I was able to witness the video.
I'll show Willie the video at the end of the show. I'm so proud of him. That's a big moment.
I think we can all kind of harken back watching somebody go off the dive. I'm trying to. I don't.
He
think
showed no fear either, Willie.
Oh, I like
he
that.
showed no fear.
You ever had that kid?
He made sure his footing was right.
Yes.
And then he jumped, man.
Yeah. So he didn't
Sarah
delay.
Leonard.
So many times you have that second guess. You're at the edge of it, and it could be at the next level dive. You don't see too many high dives anymore. At least at the old neighborhood pool. Back in the day, the old neighborhood pool sometimes had the high dive. There was always that one kid. Everybody's in line, and everybody's like, "Go, go!" And the kid's like frozen at the end. He's like, "Get that." So Arlo showed no fear.
It was not a high
That's
dive.
good.
It was the lowest of low dives.
But that's good.
But yes.
But to him, it was high.
Yes, for him because he is small. But what's so funny about kids is like 5 minutes before, we asked him, do you want to jump off the diving board? And he said, no, it's too scary. And then one of his little friends did it. And he goes randomly, I'm going to go off the diving board.
Sometimes
and
that's
there
all
it
it
was.
takes.
That's all it takes is your buddy going off first.
Yeah.
Peer
Oh, it's okay?
Yes.
All right, let me do it.
I didn't. I remember I had never done a flip off of the high dive, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do it. I'm not gonna do it. And then my younger brother did it. I was like, no, I got to do it. But he always has the bragging rights. I did it before you did. And I had the worst first flip off the high dive of all time. But I had to endure the pain because I was like, I can't not do it. I don't know how to do it, but my little brother just did it. So I have to do it.
Yeah, if
And
you
it was,
didn't do
I,
it,
I
oh,
don't even
man.
know if it qualified. I backed so hard on the water.
It was a half flip.
Oh, yeah, it was not a full flip.
I do remember when I was learning how to swim, there was a local pool club by my house, and you had to take a swim test in order to be able to go to the pool club by yourself. And it involved jumping off of the high dive and treading water for God knows how long. It was a tough test. One texter says, just make sure your son doesn't jump off a cliff if you see somebody else doing it. Duly noted.
So next time you're near a cliff,
yes,
make sure nobody else is around.
Well, did you never say to your kids, well, if that friend jumped off the Empire State Building, would you do it too? Right. By the way, Brian, who gave us the info about the British government intervention, passively aggressively texted, "You're welcome."
For saving the show.
Passive is it passively aggressively or passive aggressive? It's passive aggressively. Either way, thank you, Brian, for helping us out.
Couldn't have done it without you, Brian.
Jeez.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Look, we do appreciate the interaction.
He helped the show.
Yes, he did. Because look, like I said, I am the most casual of casual soccer fans. I have been very much invested in what we've been watching these past couple of weeks. I will be watching tonight when I get home the U.S. men's national team against Belgium.
What is the number? And maybe we can talk about this tomorrow.
Sure.
What is the number now of people that have watched every game?
Oh, that's a good question.
Really? And how many games have you watched? Because you've been really in this.
Not every game. I haven't watched every game.
Okay.
But I've watched a
You've
lot.
watched the game at least every time, at least one game.
Whenever I
when
can,
it
if
comes
this
on.
game on, I'm going to watch at least part of it. I'm also curious about this while you look that up. The U.S. has come out of the gates flying in every game. They've jumped ahead. And, like, what if that doesn't happen tonight? Like, I am curious if they can handle it if they fall behind, because there's not a lot of goals scored in most soccer games. They haven't had a lot of adversity. They played with the lead most of the time. The biggest part of adversity was when Balogun got dismissed from the game with the red card, but they were already ahead because of his goal. And so they could defend, and they actually lengthened the lead. But I am worried not worried, but I'm curious if they have to face some adversity within the game. Can they handle it?
Brian says it's the English way. So I guess Brian is English, and that's why he's being passive aggressive.
Very nice. Oh, okay. I like it.
It is the English way, I suppose. I don't have the number in front of me of how many people have watched at least. I think it was a minute of every World Cup match. But I want to say when we were on the air on Thursday, the number was somewhere under 6,000. So I will see if I can find the update tomorrow. But in the meantime, that'll do it for us today. Belgium versus the United States. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. on Fox. We will react. Yes, Willie.
Nick Frazier has just texted us.
Okay.
He said, starting lineups are out. U.S. needs a goal in the first half, no questions asked. Belgium isn't starting.
I don't know any of
these
people.
three guys.
And Balogun is starting.
Balogun is starting. Thanks, Frazier.
Thanks, Frazier.
All right. Balogun in the starting lineup. We will react.
He mentioned 3 players for Belgium that aren't starting. I'm like, good. Thanks, Nick. I could read them to you, but I wouldn't. I would just be.
He is one of the 6,000.
Copying off
Nick
of his.
is one of the 6,000.
I say this as lovingly as I can. It's going to sound like an insult. It's not an insult. Frazier is a soccer sicko. Okay.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yes.
I'm a hockey sicko. He's a soccer sicko. Y'all are sickos too, but we love our DVD sickos who listen to us every day. That'll do it for us today. We'll react to what we see on the pitch. See what I did there? Not the field, the pitch. And we'll have many more discussions to have starting tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Be loved, love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful day. I love you. The team loves you. You hear that music? Don't you forget about us, because we will not forget about you. We're back on these airwaves talking soccer and hopeful for a U.S. men's win tomorrow. Well, tonight, so we could discuss tomorrow. All right. And as I always say, we're going to be talking and
USA will be listening.
Peace.